Hi, everybody. Welcome to FNS Wrestling Podcast, episode 84. We're back in the basement. I'm still your host. My co-host is here sipping on booster juice and stretching because he's a lazy boy, and that's my teenage son, Jack. Say hello, Jack.
And I plan to get even lazier as the day goes by.
Why don't you just come for dinner with us, you lazy
thinking
staff?
about it.
Okay, good. But anyways, we're back kind of recording this in between a couple basketball games. Younger son's got a very busy weekend of a basketball tournament, so driving down to the city about an hour. They played, of course, because they had to play the earliest game possible, right? So yeah. That meant I was up before 7 on a Saturday, loving that. Drove down. They took a really good team that's actually a division ahead of them to overtime. Your brother played awesome. Probably he is the smallest player we have seen in the entire league, but he is good, man. He's one of the two key players on his team, I would suggest. So He played great, really aggressive. Eye of the Tiger, hit some clutch free throws down the stretch. So nice. A stinging loss, but they played really well. We were pretty proud of them. So we're going to try and knock off a full episode of the podcast before I got to head back to the city for another game, right? So I don't know. That's what's new with me. What's new with you this week? Anything to talk about that's exciting in your life? You weren't prepared for this? Like you didn't know we were going to banter for the 84th straight episode?
Yeah, but I just don't really have much going on.
Getting through school, video games.
I have tests on Monday, so...
Nice. Prepared or not?
Not yet.
In French?
Yeah.
That's what I heard, yeah.
Right.
I heard a rumor.
Yeah.
Nice. But yeah, so you've started semester 2 of your grade 9 year, and things are going okay, I guess, so far, right?
Yeah, easy.
And we're just hunkered down in the middle of winter here in Southern Ontario, hoping to get to spring, get the pool open. That's what as soon as the new year ticks over, that's what I start thinking. When's the pool open? When can I be immersed in water?
Right.
But yeah, so I don't know. It's just a lot of running around for basketball for your brother, which is fun. And I don't know, what else anything else to talk about in this week banter this week?
Certainly not from me.
Certainly not from you. You are you have nothing to contribute
I'm
to the
very
band.
boring.
So am I. If I didn't go to basketball, I'd be
exactly.
the same. Like,
yeah, I'm like.
So I went to work. I came home.
I'm building a bridge, like a ski
you're building,
bridge.
right? Yeah.
I guess like I don't really.
In one of your classes. So that's kind of interesting.
Never much.
Right.
Unless like we're actually doing something. Like you have something to do, I have nothing.
And I'm still kind of off work modified due to my
until like March break.
Back and leg issues, yeah. So I sort of have mornings off, and
Which
I go in.
It's actually kind of soon.
It is kind of soon, and I'm feeling somewhat better, right? Like I get through the day fine. The nighttime's a bit tougher, but sleeping was a bit better last night. So getting a full night's sleep will be nice. That hasn't happened in over a month, so I don't know how I'm surviving. I've just sort of adjusted to a very minimal sleep routine, but anyways, who cares, right? That's enough about us, I would say. Let's transition into talking about wrestling, because I don't think too many people are here to hear us banter. I could be wrong. Let me know.
I'd like to see like just a whole podcast of that and see if
we're going to get flooded with emails. Just banter for 2 hours. No wrestling talk at all.
Just talk about anything else.
Just anything but wrestling.
Anything but FNS, anything but wrestling podcast.
That's right. And everything else podcast.
Yeah.
But anyways, I say we move into that now, looking at some of the week's news and rumors. So in terms of ratings, which is where we always start off, Tuesday's live post-Vengeance Day edition of NXT 2.0 drew 612,000 viewers, so up 16.57%.
Can't wait to hear about it this week.
It's great. Got a 0.12 rating in the key demographic, which is up just over 9%. So as expected, right, they were on Sci-Fi for the last 2 episodes because of Olympics, so the ratings were pretty much trash. So this is back to on their on USA Network, right? I think is where it is in the States.
Yep, that's what it is.
Back on there and drew 612,000, which isn't, I don't think, terrible. So it's going back to the last USA Network show. It's down slightly, so about their normal ratings, I guess. Nothing. I didn't enjoy the show particularly, but that doesn't always tie into ratings so much. But then we're talking about Dynamite. So Wednesday's Dynamite, it was live. They got over 1 million again, which is nice. 1.01 million. So up a pretty decent 16.23%. Earned a nice 0.40 in the key demo, which is up 29%. And so that episode tied with the January 5th premiere episode on TBS for the 4th best audience this year. So I don't know. Again, I always say like that 1 million viewer threshold seems to be a pretty good spot for AEW to hit. So I thought that was a decent rating for them, and a 0.40 in the demo is pretty solid as well. So I don't know why I keep doing NXT ratings, really, but because I guess we still cover it, right?
Like,
So
you do.
I did look at impacts. I didn't write it down, but they were just over 100,000 viewers and a tiny bit up because they just had that pay-per-view, right? Which I didn't end up reviewing. I watched it. It was fine. I would say my favorite match was probably the X Division qualifying match, as those tend to be really fun, and everything else.
I think I saw a bit of that.
I don't think anything was terrible, but I did fall asleep completely through the Good Brothers Violent by Design, whatever that.
Good Brothers God.
Right. I totally fell asleep through that. So anyways, that's all. I told you, I usually do my news Friday nights and Saturday mornings. So last night when I checked, there wasn't anything that interested me. And then obviously this morning I didn't have time because I was out of the house at the crack of dawn. So news is your responsibility this week. So inform me, enlighten me on what's going on in the world of wrestling.
Well, we'll get right out of the way, as I'm sure anyone with half a brain knows what went down. Is Buddy Matthews is All Elite.
That is true. Spoiler.
Seemingly in the House of Black now, so
Seems
that's
to
pretty interesting given the history there.
Yeah, fantastic wrestler.
Buddy Murphy, which I will probably sometimes call him that still, because
it opens up a whole bunch of really cool matches, right? And
he's awesome.
And it's different when it's in AEW because it's cool matchups working that style too.
Exactly.
Right? He's not working main roster style.
Like, I feel like it's different. I'll see Buddy Matthews versus Bryan Danielson rather than Buddy Murphy versus Daniel Bryan, which I think they do.
Where it's different, because I'll talk about it later, but like,
he got his shorts back.
I liked WWE Daniel Bryan and I respected him, but was nowhere near what he is right now in AEW, right? Like, it's not even close as far as I'm concerned. So that's good. I'm glad to see Buddy. His character work and mic work aren't very good, but in the ring, he's terrific.
He's in the House of Black, where it seems like Black can kind of take care of that, right?
Exactly. So, he doesn't have to say much.
Right. But I think he's awesome. I loved him from that 205 Live run he had.
And I did notice, you're right, his shorts are back.
Yeah,
those funky...
I remember the people making fun of him at the house show. I don't know, I like him. It's unique.
Was he basically debuting that look when we saw him, I feel like? We saw him at a house show in a small town in Ontario.
It was either like during his run when he was trying to make the weight limit for the tournament after Enzo vacated the title, because I remember
because he had to cut like 20 pounds.
That was his return to TV because he was entering the tournament, right? And it was either before that or during that.
And we saw Ricochet before he debuted right?
That was the match.
Yeah,
right? I think
Ricochet, Buddy Murphy at a house show before Ricochet had even debuted in WWE.
Exactly,
so that's one of the reasons house shows are kind of cool.
I think it may have been during Murphy's 205 Live on them, because I know it was a pre-Mania tournament. Because remember, they had Ali Alexander at Mania 34, and then TakeOver New Orleans was when Ricochet debuted, and you said it was before Ricochet debuted, so I think it was during. Before
they killed Ricochet's career, we got to see him live, so that's nice.
He's challenging for the Intercontinental title next week.
Well, that is a prestigious belt, as we all know.
Oh my God, speaking of prestigious, I saw that they might be doing Zane Knoxville for that at Mania. Johnny Knoxville.
Oh, I was like, they're going to Knoxville? How does that matter? Oh, the person Knoxville. Well, that is take my money. That's disgusting.
Yeah, but anyways, so yeah, that's really cool.
Yep.
I'm very happy with that.
That's good
news.
We
got him and Keith Lee pretty close together, so that's really awesome.
Yep.
I feel like there's another signing that they did kind of recently, but I'm trying to remember. Kyle O'Reilly, that's what it was.
That's true.
That's 3. Very good. And speaking of, I guess, I don't know, similar.
Trying to segue this one?
Never mind.
Shoehorn it in there.
Cesaro did quietly leave WWE. I think his contract expired and he neglected to resign.
Yeah, that caught me by surprise a little bit. He just seems at this point like he's a lifer, right?
With it.
Like he's just going to stay there forever, and maybe he'll resign. I don't know, but
and
I don't know where he fits, to be honest.
I don't really care, but I would love him in AEW. Now that I think of it, I thought about this as soon as I saw he was gone. I'm like, Cesaro Danielson.
Well, yeah, for sure. But I don't know. Again, their roster's so big right now.
Yeah, but I think
he is great.
Could see money in him.
And he deserves... they could, right? And that's the trouble is I'm so used to his WWE persona and the way he's presented that, he is capable of so much more. You just have to remember that.
I don't know what it is.
Right. Because I was watching him in Ring of Honor when he was Claudio Castagnoli.
Oh, maybe if they do the ROH
bring in Chris Hero for a tag team.
Oh, yes. I miss him.
They were an incredible tag team,
I miss
honestly.
him. They could totally do that.
They could.
I don't think the AEW tag division is a waste of time for them because like it's a good division.
No, it's great. But
I
yeah,
would love that.
So interesting to see where he lands. We'll keep an eye on it.
I miss Ono. Where is he been since he got
I
released?
haven't heard anything about him.
It's been a long time.
It has.
I miss him. I wish he was still in UK because we're watching that.
We are watching that, and he's good.
Yeah. So in a time where they kind of just let contracts expire, in AEW, just like rather than releasing people, take notes, other people.
Right? Like you actually fulfill your contract, and then we'll talk. And then if we don't want you, we just won't sign you. Imagine.
They have extended Brian Cage's contract.
Oh, have they? Because he's been such a prominent piece of the...
If they're bringing in the muscle for the ladder match, why don't you throw him in?
Right, because he can also do, like, crazy flippy stuff if he needs to as well.
Him and Keith Lee in the same match. Like, hello. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, good for Cage. I don't have a problem with him. He hasn't been really presented as a star or anything to this point, but he's a solid guy to have there.
I definitely saw a lot more for him, I think, especially when he had Taz. Now that he's kind of out of that group.
I think it's the standard everywhere he goes. He looks like $1 million. He can wrestle, but there's not a ton of charisma, and he can't talk.
As great as he is in the ring, he's just not a total package.
Right, he's not.
Like... In the ring, yes, he is. But, like, as a whole package,
right,
I mean...
there's something missing.
As a whole wrestler, he's not, like...
Agree.
I feel like Keith Lee is, like, at least he can kind of talk, right?
Right.
And, like, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, so I feel like it's kind of different.
Yeah.
So
no, Cage has to have a mouthpiece. He has to be in a group or a faction.
I don't understand why he is head of Team Taz, and Stark shouldn't be in there in the first place.
Stark should be gone.
I mean, I do think he's good in there, but I don't think, like, it's necessary.
No.
Like, I feel like it could have done Cage, Hobbs, and then someone else.
Hook.
Like if you want a third one. Oh, right, Hook. Like Hook's like
Cage, Hobbs, Hook, and Taz speaks for them.
Hook is in there, but like Hook's not really like.
And then you add Layla Hirsch.
Exactly.
And Taz speaks for everyone, and boom, we're done. Right? Mm-hmm. Makes sense to me. But what do we know? What else you got?
Last one is that apparently Shane Strickland is on the verge of becoming all the FKA Isaiah Scott.
That would be cool. How can they keep signing everybody? I don't understand.
know, but like
they do have tons of money, so that's probably it.
They're making it work for the most part. The only recent-ish signing I can think of that's not going too great is Andrade, and even then he's not doing like the worst.
Swerve's another guy that I would love to see what AEW does with him, character-wise, because they'll let him have input. I think he said he's trying to get away from the hit row thing. He's got other ideas.
Okay, yeah, but I was gonna say I really like that, but I mean, if he's got other stuff, I'd like to see that.
And again, they'll let him wrestle a style because he is incredible. Some of the stuff he can do. Not that NXT is the one place in WWE at that time where you could kind of
good still, yeah,
right, but not anymore.
I'm telling you, man, they need another mid-card title. I don't know what it would be, but they need another mid-card title.
I still don't want another singles title.
I think so.
Trios, yes. Singles, no.
I think we need trios titles and another mid-card title because there's just too much here. And, like, you can keep the TNT title on TNT, and then you have something. You don't even have to do that. Like, you switch that to a TV title, and you add in another mid-card title. Like, there's just so much, I feel like. There's usually a lot of good feuds. Like there's stuff like Punk MJF and whatnot, like Daniels and Mox right now. But like I feel like you also need like some other stakes. You know what I mean? Like another.
Yeah,
title.
I find the more belts you add, the less prestigious each of them are.
Yeah, I do see that, and like I do think that's kind of what WWE's done a bit.
Yeah.
But I also feel like AEW doesn't have a lot right now, at least in terms of each division.
It depends, I guess. Do you consider the FTW thing real? I don't.
No.
And I still think there's enough titles.
No, that's like the $1 million title.
Yeah.
Like, that's not... I think they need, like, one more mid-card title, and then they're perfect. And then trios titles if you want. Because, to me, like, adding trios titles is different than adding a singles title. Because singles title is, like, adding it into an existing division. Yes. Trios titles is, like, creating another division. That's, like, adding a cruiserweight title, which I don't think they should do. But, like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, it's like adding the tag titles is a different thing than adding, like, a mid-card title, right? So I feel like they could do both of that. And then, like, I feel like that helps the roster because I don't think they need, like, too many mid-card titles, but I think they could use one more.
Yeah, I'm good with the way it is, but I see what you're saying.
Like, Swerve something to do if he was in.
Yeah.
And also, I do not want them to sign Jeff Hardy at all.
I don't either, but it's coming, I think. They've already been teasing it a little bit. Like, even the one, I forget what match it was, where Matt Hardy left through the crowd, like Jeff did when he got basically fired. Remember, he just walked off in the middle of a house show or whatever?
Yeah.
So Matt Hardy walked out in one of the matches and left through the crowd. I think that was sort of and he also made their finger gun gesture to someone's face last week, I think it was. So it feels like they're teasing it,
if he starts doing like the dance.
Yeah, exactly.
then we'll know. But yeah, that is everything.
That's everything for news?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, that was, I'm glad you picked up the slack for me. Thank you. I'll try and get back on board with finding some news next week.
Mm-hmm.
But until then, let's get into talking about this week's episode of AEW Dynamite.
And we kick off with one of two number one contender matches we'll be getting in this week and next week. We have a tag team battle royal. I think they said 10 teams.
I'm still a bit confused by this whole setup, but yes.
No, okay, so
talk to me. Talk me through it.
Make me understand. Right? Tag team battle royal.
Yes.
The winners get in the triple threat match at the pay-per-view, right?
Right, and then there's some other...
And then there's a casino royale, which is like
When's that?
Next week.
Okay.
And then the winning team at that gets the remaining spot.
So, are they saying they have 20 tag teams? Or are some of the ones from this going back?
I'm thinking, because there's the segment with the Bucks where they say, oh, we have a shot next week. So I'm thinking at least some of the teams from this week are
Oh, good
going
point.
Back
They
in,
did say that.
right?
Yeah, you're right.
Because I was unsure, because I was
So was
thinking
I.
they
But they
could go
did say
either
that.
way. But so maybe they introduced some new teams, and then they just I think the Bucks would make sense to go into next week
Right.
because they were the runners up.
Because when they were talking to Red Dragon and Cole, they were like, we want to... Yeah, we'll get to
right.
that. But yeah, okay, that makes sense.
And they had I would say you pick some of the best performing teams from this week maybe,
And get
and
them
then you
back
throw
in.
them in.
Where's Bear County, bud? That's what I'd like to know.
Exactly. I mean, I was about to say where's Gun Club, but they were here.
They
No,
were here.
Sorry. I'm...
The Ass Boys?
I'm pretty sad there was no Chaos Project.
That
I
too.
did not get to see
That
Luther in
too.
here, and I was hurt.
Did you hear the
Okay.
crowd was chanting Ass Boys and they were getting mad about it, I think? Even though
Nice.
they've trademarked it, I think. So
Yeah.
clearly it's part of their heel gimmick. But anyways,
Yeah.
go ahead.
And they did say both members of the team must be eliminated, which
Right.
is the way I like it.
Me
'cause
too.
I think that just makes for more interesting dynamics,
Well,
and it allows it to stretch a little more.
And to me, what was it, the final 6 of this that I thought it got super fun. So
Yes.
that doesn't happen, right? If they don't work it that way.
Exactly.
So I think that is a ringing endorsement of doing it this way for
Exactly.
sure. Sorry, go ahead.
So I'm supposed to be covering eliminations. It's
Yeah,
not
that's fine.
much interesting. Blade took out Alex Reynolds and then gets tossed out by Silver. Classic. You toss someone out, you get tossed out.
Right. That's the only thing with every battle royal,
It's hard to not fall into the tropes. I feel
of them oh, I'm gonna stand facing the ropes and taunt
or
you and not
you
look
throw
behind
them
me
over and then
and
you
not
just
wait
walk
to see
away.
yeah, don't wait to see that they actually hit the floor, go celebrate or move on.
Or you suplex let them over onto the apron and then you fight on the apron.
Right. I guess it's hard not to, but it gets old. That's
Yeah,
why I'm not a
I
big
know.
battle royal fan in general.
I
But
like them if they're done right.
Yep.
Which I think they did.
And one thing, as we're talking about the early part of this, that I did like is it was everybody sort of paired off around the perimeter of the ring, and it left the middle space to them to actually wrestle.
Kind of unnatural, but I do like it because, you're saying, it allows for some
Right.
some
It allowed,
substantial action at least.
I specifically remember Butcher got a good little run there, right? Because what normally happens is there's just too many people, so it's punchy, kicky all over the ring, and struggling to lift someone over the ropes. And
I
there's
know
no,
that definitely happened in the Rumble.
and there's no actual wrestling, right? So,
Right.
But this one, they tried to provide a space for people to do stuff, which I appreciated.
Mm-hmm. So Colton low bridges the rope for Austin to toss out Ortiz, but he counters and tosses out Austin Gunn, and Santana eliminates Colton. So I guess that's kind of a trope where it's the elimination goes wrong. I don't
Yeah, that's
know.
right.
And then Colton's just yelling at Austin and
Right.
Billy for 5
Far too long.
minutes,
Yes.
and then Santana just pops up behind him and just throws him out. So
I thought Santana was one of the people they took some time to make look good too, which I
for
appreciated
sure.
because he's awesome.
yeah, but the face paint's supposed to be special, man. Come on.
The kid that loves face paint complaining about face paint. It's weird. I find it fascinating that you
Well,
want less face paint.
I
Because
want
normally you're bring on more face paint.
Yeah,
Everyone wears
well,
face paint all the time.
My 2 points for why they shouldn't be using the face paint so much is
It's special, I know.
before it was special, because I remember the 2 specific instances were Slammiversary 2018
Sure.
and then the parking lot brawl,
Right.
which they did reference here.
Yes, they did.
And then now they've just been wearing it every week. And also I feel it's different when Jeff Hardy's wearing face paint every week, for example. Don't come to AEW. He changes it up every week, like Rey Mysterio's ring attire or something. You know what I mean? I feel
Yeah.
like their face paint's pretty similar each week, so
Fair enough.
at least change it up if you're gonna.
It was a
make
bit
it
different this
unspecial.
for the Battle Royal,
It
I
is
think.
always a little bit different, but
Yeah.
I feel like it's
I think it was Ortiz's I didn't love. I can't remember
I don't know.
specifically. But anyways.
Redragon eliminate Chuck Taylor. Also, I noticed the way they do it is so lowercase R-E, capital D-R, and then lowercase Agon.
Right, because they're doctors. The DRs.
Dr. Agon?
Right.
Oh, is that their name now?
Dr. Agon. Obviously.
Doctor.
You didn't know?
Who is Dr. Agon?
I don't know.
I do not know.
That's somebody who's coming later.
Oh, it's a third
Jeff
member?
Hardy.
Oh,
No.
what?
Just kidding.
He could go to Impact. He's got history there.
Yeah.
You get to enjoy that.
They can have them. Yeah.
I hope they do.
They'll go back to the gimmick. Did you ever hear about the gimmick where we had access to his thoughts? Have you ever seen that?
Oh, I don't. I am
it's
not.
Something
I've
special.
heard of Immortal and like he had the ugly looking belt.
No, we had access to his thoughts. It was like,
really.
I remember
How
one
does
was
the
being
African work?
Kurt Angle's a machine, and like it was bizarre.
How does that
It didn't
work?
last long. But anyway, sorry,
That's
we're off
funny.
topic here.
So then John Silver eliminates Private Party. 2.0 are being Ortiz near the ropes, and they get tossed up by Santana. The Bucks super kick Ortiz out to eliminate him. Bucks and FTR standoff. Another callback there.
Mm-hmm.
But FTR ambushed by Redragon. FTR eliminate Nick Jackson, so they take out the superior Buck first. That's not
Crazy.
okay.
And I liked FTR did a bunch of just standing in the corner together and letting everybody else fight, which is smart, right? And that's a good heel thing that FTR would do.
So, Orange Cassidy carries Trent Beretta in an electric chair for an elimination save. Bobby Fish is eliminated before the commercial break. I didn't catch who got him, but he did get gotted.
He did.
Got
gotted.
Totally tries to help Cash eliminate Silver, but he counters and eliminates Cash. So there's 6 guys left, no complete teams. You have John Silver, Matt Jackson, Trent Beretta, as he will always be referred to. Kyle O'Reilly, Dax Harwood, and Santana.
And this is where I think things kind of really kicked into gear, right?
Yeah, there was some good action here. I didn't cover all of it, but there was some good stuff. Santana and Trent Beretta battle on the apron until Kyle O'Reilly and Matt Jackson eliminate them simultaneously.
They battled on the apron forever, I felt
they
like
did.
there.
They also had like the kind of standoff before, so they did kind of reference the parking lot brawl, which I think was awesome. I remember that. That was really good. And already eliminated Bobby Fish sneaks up and eliminates Dax, who's fighting Kyle O'Reilly on the apron. Another apron fight. The final 3 are John Silver, Kyle O'Reilly, and Matt Jackson. So it is kind of interesting because there is that kind of Bucks Undisputed Era faction.
And one thing I liked when it got to the final 4, because it was
Final 4 would have been Harwood and them.
Because Dax ended up looking over at John Silver because it was kind of like, I have to join forces with you and I'm not thrilled about it, was kind of the look he gave, which I thought like, oh man, I have to, which I thought was cool.
There's a flurry by Silver, which was really nice. I like when he gets them in like over the middle rope and just runs and pump kicks them in the back of the head.
Yep.
I think that's really funny. They do like a super kick version of chasing the dragon.
Yes.
So I thought that was kind of cool.
It looked good.
And so in like a flash, like it happens in like 3 seconds, it feels like. Matt is like at the ropes, he tosses us over and then Kyle O'Reilly just zooms up and throws Matt out too, which I know that's kind of been done before, but I liked it because it was just like all of a sudden I'm like, whoa, that just happened.
Makes sense sometimes, for sure.
No, for sure. And Red Dragon advanced to Revolution first, which I predicted, so yay. They're doing exactly what I want. And then after the Bucks come in and argue with Red Dragon, Hangman's music hits and he walks down the ring. He just attacks Red Dragon. I thought the Bucks, it was kind of funny. They just kind of watch and they're just like, and Hangman kind of looks at them and they're just like, they're walking away. And then Cole runs in from behind, tries to super kick Hangman. He catches it, lays into Cole. But Redragon saved Cole from a buckshot, and Silver comes in, cannonballs Redragon, and throws Kyle O'Reilly in to take a buckshot. And then Hangman cuts a promo asking who's ready for story time with Adam Page, baby. I thought it was kind of funny. He sits on a steel chair in the ring and says the tale begins in 2008 when a smug little prick named Adam Cole came to pro wrestling and became world champion everywhere he went. He says Cole saw the world around him crumbling. NXT, I assume, because it has.
It crumbled.
It definitely
crumbled
did.
real bad.
Oh, yeah. Cole came back to his friend and came after the biggest prize in the world, the AEW title. He says Cole said he worked step by step closer to the prize, not knowing he was working to a 6-foot hole, and then at Revolution he took a step too close and got beat by the better Adam. The better Adam. Wow. I don't know. He said Cole get cocked by buckshot, and that sound would be a boom. Ha, get it? 'Cause boom.
Yep.
What did you think about that in the promo?
I thought the match, and I don't usually love battle royals. I enjoyed the majority of this one. I thought it was a good start for the show. I like the finish. It makes Kyle O'Reilly look smart, and it provides them a way to further right the issues with the Young Bucks and Red Dragon, with sort of Cole being stuck in the middle, which is going to come up again on this show. I thought the aftermath was fine, and Paige made some decent points. I felt like it was dragging a little bit by the end. I kind of lost focus, but I think there was nothing wrong with it. It was probably just me being tired or something. So yeah, I thought it was a good start to the show, and I'm pretty skeptical of battle royals in general, but I thought this one was pretty good. What about you?
Yeah, I think battle royals sometimes kind of fall into the same stuff a lot of the time, but I think they did a really good job here. I actually liked it. I think it was pretty good for battle royal. Didn't start out too hot, but even then, some people got to shine on it, like you mentioned with Butcher. I think some elimination spots were good, and some were the old tropes. It was especially great when they made it to that final six, when they could really do a lot of stuff. I think it was really nice. I liked it also came down to solos, which just kind of creates a different dynamic, which is really cool. There are a lot of cool stories weaved in, and also some callbacks. There was furthering the Red Dragon Young Bucks tension. Right. There was callback to Proud and Powerful Best Friends and Bucks FTR, among other things. I think it was really cool. It was a smart way to tie in a lot of things, and a smart start to the show as well, I think. The finish was sudden, but I think it was cool, and I think definitely the right result. And now we're one step away from this ideal scenario. I think the Bucks do definitely have to win next week, so I think
it looks that way, right?
That creates a perfect
it makes a lot
match.
of sense.
I think
it
makes, like, I don't know how I didn't see it right away, but it definitely does seem engineered for this storyline, which I think is done really well too.
And then I think one of them has to win the belts, which I would probably say Red Dragon at this point.
I don't think Bucks need to go again.
And I don't.
Which sucks, because I feel like.
And we talked about Jurassic Express.
They haven't had a great run, but do you think that they were ever meant to win the titles?
Who?
Jurassic Express, because remember what happened?
Yes, I do.
And Phoenix still hasn't come back.
No.
So
yeah, it might have been. Maybe it wasn't the plan. I don't know.
I don't remember the finish. I'm pretty sure it was a roll-up finish. So
because they've been kind of barely visible as champions, right?
Yeah.
Not that I don't enjoy their matches, but
I'm starting to think maybe it wasn't like
meant to be
planned,
right?
Because it really didn't seem like. I thought the finish was out because I think it was like the victory roll finish, a la Penta Oscuro on this show.
Ugh, yeah.
And so I'm kind of thinking maybe that wasn't meant to be, and then this is the way, like, their accidental transitional change, which would suck for them, because I think they would deserve a good run, and maybe they do get that down the road. I think Red Dragon should get the win.
And Bucks don't have to get pinned, right? So that can keep that thing going too.
And then we could move to Redragon Bucks, like,
yes, full on,
which would be awesome.
Agree.
The Paige promo I did actually like. I liked him mocking Cole. I think the promo was pretty good. I didn't love Kyle O'Reilly had to be fed to a buckshot, but it's not a big deal.
Right. No, I mean, it's the champion's finisher, so whatever. It's not a huge deal.
Yeah, my friend was pointing out, like, the buckshot's stupid, and I'm like, it kind of is, but I don't
it's
know.
Not,
I like it at the same time.
It's basically a lariat with a bit of flair, right? Like, I don't know. I guess you could argue he picks up momentum from the flip, but
yeah, that's like saying it's like the phenomenal forearm, kind of.
Yeah.
In a way, if you get what I mean.
Yep.
But next we have Bryan Danielson interview. He says he's been really impressed by Garcia, and he reminds him of a young Danielson.
Makes sense.
So I guess Danielson was overrated back then.
Oh, you're throwing shade at Garcia early on today.
He says the main difference is he had a great mentor. I think he mentioned Regal. I think it was, which that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And Garcia's Hangout 2.0. I wouldn't call them mentors.
Right. Yes, he takes shots at 2.0 here, which I enjoyed.
And he would be an entirely different level with him or Mox, and he'll show him tonight. He says he'll give Mox his answer after the match. And I thought it was a pretty nice little promo. It was quick but good. It explains the match a little more. He was like saying like he wants to show Garcia violence.
Yeah, I like that logic too. He's gonna prove to Garcia what training with him could do and would be like, right?
And it connects it to the storyline going on more. And the comparison of him to young him to Garcia is all right. Like I feel like
similar style,
I see
right?
Where he's coming from, but at the same time, like no.
Yeah, I like this promo too. I think that's the message, right? Is here's what I can teach you, sort of thing. And it's all about. He does it in the match too. He's yelling about where's the violence. He's trying to get him to be more violent, and that I think he's trying to suggest Garcia's basically wasting some of his prime, spending it with 2.0, right? Where he could be getting elevated by Bryan Danielson as his trainer and mentor and whatever. So. And all the time, I like Danielson's also still courting Moxley to join him, right? So I thought this was a really cool Danielson promo, but I'll talk about it later. I'm possibly losing the ability to be objective about Danielson. I'm just in love with his current run so much that like pretty much everything he does for me right now is gold.
I thought you were saying you're gonna lose the ability to believe Garcia.
No,
Garcia.
but it's just like everything Danielson does, I'm in love with right now. So I'm losing my objectivity possibly. But anyways, I'm honest about it.
Next we get an MJF in ring promo. He's coming out looking kind of sad.
Yeah.
This was a very interesting one.
I don't know how I feel about it. I'm not gonna
sure
lie.
what to think either.
Yeah.
So MJ said that he gets that you guys want to boo him, but he asked if they could give him an opportunity here. He said when he met CM Punk years ago in the photograph that was shown last week, Punk said it was another Friday, but to MJF it was more than that. MJ said that there was a point in his life where the only reason he got up in the morning was because of professional wrestling. He said he loved professional wrestling and he loves AEW. MJ said that in 2007 when he was 11 years old, therefore he is 11 years older than me.
Nice. That's
Wait,
math.
what? So then, wait, I'm 14.
Yeah, he's 26, I think, right now.
Oh, I'm supposed to be 15 this year. Wow.
Right. So that makes sense. Story checks out.
That's interesting. He had disabilities like severe attention deficit disorder, ADD, otherwise known as AD. While adding that,
Yeah.
that every day was hell. MJ said that he liked playing football. He gave a shout out to Jewish people.
He did.
And said that he was a middle linebacker. I find it hard to believe MJ played football.
Yeah.
It's just kind of interesting. MJ said that one day at school he thought he was going to make friends, but in their hands they had rolls of quarters and they threw the quarters at him, free money. They said, pick it up, Jew boy, pick it up. And MJ said that he cried, but then later that day he got to meet CM Punk at an autograph signing. MJ said CM Punk was his hero and CM Punk was the best in the world. He said that day he was going to be like his hero CM Punk. He said that his 5'0" ADD riddled Jew boy was going to become the best in the world. MJ said in 2013 he had football scholarship offers. That's just so weird to me. Like,
why?
I feel like MJF's like, he just doesn't look like a football guy.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
He's
I feel
he's
like
not super huge for that position
like someone
either.
like Roman Reigns who did football. You could be like, oh yeah, he did football. Like for MJF, I'm like, it's like Axel Heck in the middle.
Yes, he's far too small to be a football player.
That's what I'm saying.
That's
like
not
it's
believable.
like
MJF's at least kind of muscular.
Yeah, like I'm just like, sure. MJ said he was watching tapes and he was practicing promos until his voice got hoarse because he wanted to be like CM Punk. MJ brought up January 2014 saying CM Punk left MJF and CM Punk left all of us. MJ said he realized that if the best in the world couldn't do it, then maybe he should bury his dreams. MJ said that there's an Instagram account called The Wrestling Classic and there was this photo of CM Punk shaking hands with Bryan Danielson. MJ said he was livid. He got in his car and made a promise to himself that day that he'd become the best in the world in spite of CM Punk. MJ said that he made a promise that he couldn't leave a kid the way Punk did. MJF said that on March 6th, you can whip MJF with the chain, make him bleed buckets. He'll not quit because then he'd be like Punk.
Ooh.
MJF said that he's not a quitter while adding that he's Maxwell Jacob Friedman. He's better than you, and you know it.
Mm-hmm.
And then CM Punk walked out, and he asked if it was real.
Like
just
off mic, just walked in like, is that true? Is this true?
And MJF seemed to like kind
said,
of nod that it was.
He did.
And then
he said it is true. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he walked away, and I saw someone catch that he winked at the camera,
did he?
but
Thank God.
I'm not sure if he did because then in another one from TJR, I didn't see him catch that, so I'm not sure if he did or not because I didn't catch it either.
No, I didn't either.
So what did you think? I'm confused because at first I was thinking like, oh yeah, this is interesting because like MJF's like being all genuine and like, but
he can't be.
I can't tell.
I don't want him to be.
I don't know.
So I think vulnerable MJF and I the crowd as well, it made them uncomfortable a bit, right? And that's very cool that he has that power. And I'll start out by saying
like I love how like he brings this like whether he's trying to be real or not, he brings this authenticity to everything
100%.
He's saying. Like whether he's trying to be sad or mad or like elated, like he brings it to everything.
And this is maybe a glimpse of him. He could be a baby where I would never want to do it, but maybe he could be a baby face, right? But anyways, like
remember when he was Cody's friend and he was a baby face?
Yeah. His delivery and stuff were amazing, but the content of this, it has to be mind games, right? If we don't find out that this is a bunch of bullcrap, then I'm not going to be happy.
Sympathy for him,
right? So I think that's what he's doing, right? Because Punk went out of his way with that picture to be like, this was a big deal in your life, and it was just a Friday. Maybe that was mind
games for MJF,
and now MJF is like,
and so now he's like,
you're right, it was a big deal for me, like, and so if it's not all a ruse and some sort of mind games, I'm not gonna like this as much because it's too babyface of a promo for like the ultimate heel. I would suggest in possibly all of wrestling right now to be sincerely making this promo. It has to be. I don't. There's no chance they're turning
It
him
has to just be like
babyface.
the ultimate dick move or
So
something.
it has to be some sort of mind games that he's playing. The payoff must be that some of this, part of this, all of this wasn't true. We'll find out, I guess. I thought the segment was a bit longer than it needed to be. Some of the football flashback stuff was a bit lengthy, I thought. But it does have me looking forward to the payoff, which again, I'm expecting the payoff is I did this to manipulate you somehow. So that will be cool. And if it's all mind games to get to Punk, then I'm good with it. If this is all just him being sincere and legit, then I'm not as big a fan. Like, he did a great job delivering it, but I don't really like it if this is him being sincere. So again, I'm not quite sure how I feel. It'll depend on the payoff, and I guess that's maybe good writing, right?
I thought it was interesting because I feel like it's like one of those times where MJF is actually like relatable, because I feel like all these times like he's making these points where like it's always right by heel logic, but I feel like this is like I could see this happen actually happening to someone, or like along these lines where like they like kind of just resent Punk, like he abandoned everyone, like something like that.
But can't you see him coming out whenever it is finally and being like, no, man, I was a most popular kid in school and I was blah, 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 and I had no issues and you fell for all of it, right? Like, I think he's just trying to soften Punk before the match so that maybe Punk won't want to kill him. You know what I mean? That's what I'm hoping for anyways.
Yeah, I could see that, 'cause I'm really not sure. I'm not 100% sure it's either. Like,
Right.
I'm not 100%
Which I'm okay
sure
with
it's
not knowing.
genuine.
It's
I'm not
cool.
100% sure it's a ruse. I would like to think it's a ruse.
Me too.
I'm sure it is, but I'm not 100% sure. It seems very out of character, so it's kind of odd. It could be a ruse. If it's not, then it has to be a real story. Like, I feel like it has to be like from him, if it's not mind games, or
Right.
even if it is mind games, maybe it's his real story, and
It still could be.
and they're just
Felt
gonna
like
like
it.
kayfabe he was like normal and whatnot and like didn't care.
Right.
And maybe he's just being a weasel. And so as I was looking at a review, I saw someone pick up that he did wink at the camera, so I'm not sure if he did or not, because
Right.
I didn't pick that up. Some people did and some people didn't, so I'm not sure. But I think it was really good because it was like another just passion promo from it, and I think it was interesting because there's multiple ways you can take it.
Right. I agree. So it's got me like anticipating, which is probably a sign
I
of
think
good writing,
even if
right?
it's not what we want it to be, I think it's still good because it keeps you guessing.
Yep, exactly.
Next we got a quick interview with 2.0 Garcia, and basically they just don't care what Danielson thinks, and Garcia will show Danielson violence tonight. I thought it was fine. It was quick.
It was
there.
I just had like good intensity from 2.0, I thought. Especially Matt Lee seemed pretty pissed off.
Yeah, he's funny.
Garcia's not, I don't think, super great on the mic at this point, but it was fine. It was really brief.
Mm-hmm. Next we got Kings of Black Throne versus Pac and Penta. Not Penta Alzarmieto. No. It's Penta Ascuro.
That's right.
He's wearing all black. He had this sick entrance, I must say. The match kind of disappointed me for him, but
although Alex made me laugh.
Alex was kind of odd, but I think it was a really cool entrance. I really liked it, actually. Like, I liked him coming from behind. He's just like doing like his weird face. Like, he's funny.
And it was after I had sort of said was kind of making fun of Alex. What is it, Abrahantes? His because I don't feel like he needs to be dressed like a evil minister or whatever
he could be like,
is.
you know how Heyman is sometimes afraid of Brock?
Yeah, that's what I wanted, right? Like, he can be his normal self with him, but be a little bit like, because Penta's so unpredictable and unhinged that he's a little bit nervous,
I would love a dual
right?
personality Penta, kind of like, he kind of like some kind, like, not like the stupid Damian Priest thing. I'm talking not quite the same, but if you get what I mean, a la Demon Balor.
Yeah.
That kind of thing, like something like that.
And JR seemed to agree with me because I wrote down his direct quote was, Alex is taking his job very, very seriously. And I thought that was kind of him politely saying what I was thinking, like, dude, I think maybe you went a bit too far with the change of look for you as well.
Alex aside, I think Penta's entrance was really
cool. Yep.
The mask was a little different. Like, I think it was really awesome. I'm just a little disappointed on.
Yeah, I have some issues, but we'll get there.
Because to sum it up, I feel like Penta, he was basically the same in the match. I feel like the entrance was really awesome. It was really cool. I really enjoyed it. It was different. It was definitely like their take on Pentagon Dark, something like that. And then the match, it just felt like normal Penta.
Agreed.
Like, it could have been Penta on any other day. It would have been the same match.
That's one of my criticisms as well.
I think this was an improvement on the first encounter, to say the least.
Yep.
Which is not a high bar. There was a big clothesline by King for 2 at one point. Brody King places Pac on Penta's shoulders and then chops Pac, whose momentum poison Rana's Penta. Which
That was
I
pretty
thought
cool.
Was awesome.
Yeah, pretty
when
unique
he did
spot.
that, I was like, oh, I was like, what? I
Off
thought
a
that
chop.
Was,
yep. It was
yeah,
cool.
it was really cool. I was like, I was confused what he was doing, and then he did it. I was just like, oh my god, that was awesome.
It was neat.
And that's a cool way to get Pac to poison Rana someone, because he does do that. There was a roundhouse and a German suplex for 2 by Black, which is pretty cool. I thought it was funny because they were wearing black and red gear, so his eye contact is red.
Right.
That's a little excessive.
Yeah, probably.
I do think it'd be funny if his right eye just matches his color aesthetic.
No matter what.
Yeah, I think that'd be interesting.
Could do that.
I think it's kind of dumb, but at the same time, like, that's funny.
Yeah.
There's pump kicks by Pac, the Stagger King. He misses a corner move and hits the post, and Pac falls to the German suplex before a double super kick to King. And Black goes to missed Penta, who covers his mouth and then rolls him up for the win. So Malachi Black got rolled up.
Yeah.
Yay! And then they attack that triangle afterwards, and Black grabs the shovel that
right.
Penta brought, and then the lights go out, and Buddy frickin' Matthews appears, so that was sick. And Black does a great job selling this. He just drops to the mat, and he's just like kind of like the. It's like they even said it too. It's like the classic, oh, he's seen a ghost, that kind of thing.
Right.
He's looking like he's seen a ghost, and then Matthews is kind of pacing around the ring as Black is just like sitting there fearing, and then King's kind of standing in another corner, just like kind of watching it, just observing it. I didn't see what he actually did, but then he just kicks the crap out of Pac's face. Just like, I want to say it was a pump kick, but I'm not sure. He just kicks Pac so fast and just relentlessly stomps Penta in the corner, just goes after him. And Black sits all smiles as King goes up the ramp, just killing security guys.
Yeah, that was interesting.
That was really funny.
It was.
He's just murdering all these security guys. And then Matthews does like an arm trap stomp to Penta onto a chair. Candice LeRae's Wicked Stepsister is all I know how to call it.
Right.
Like, it's that move. And then the lights go out for them to leave.
Yeah, I had a few issues the same as you. My first thing was, if you debut Pentagon Dark, he should be clearly different other than just appearance from regular Penta, and I didn't see that here.
I think the entrance was the only thing that was like good and different.
To me, I don't even think Penta should be in a tag team. He should be like a violent loner, at least the version of Penta Dark I want. I don't think that debuting Pentagon Dark should be getting killed the way he did after the match here either, right? So I just feel like the timing is off on when they decided to switch to Pentagon Dark. Like, I don't feel like this is the time to then put him in a tag team match. Yes, they got the win, but it wasn't like a decisive, you know what I mean? It was kind of a roll up basically, right? And then he gets beat down after the match. So I didn't find the finish very satisfying. There was I don't know if you noticed, but there was a blind tag. The ref saw it, but never really acknowledged it. So that he was kind of helping mislead Black and King a little bit, because he was acting like the non-legal man was the legal man when he saw the tag. So I was confused by that a bit. A roll-up win isn't what I wanted. I thought the debut of Buddy...
not Black taking, like, because the only loss he's taken was to Cody, of course.
Right. The debut of Buddy Matthews is cool for sure.
Oh, that's awesome.
And the match did have some good action, especially that chop into a poison
rana. Oh my god, I love that.
But it just kind of felt off to me overall, and it might be
I think.
It might be my own fault, because I was hoping that like this was a vehicle to display the newfound like violence and character of Penta, but it wasn't, right? It was a new outfit, but same character. It kind of like he ended up being an afterthought here because of the arrival of Buddy Matthews and because of the
not
end
even because
and
of that, because he just didn't. He was the same in the match.
Right.
It's like he had actually been different, and then Buddy Matthews came. Different story, but I think he was just same Penta in the match, and then just gets overshadowed.
He's just
by
in
Matthews.
a different wrapper. You didn't change the contents, right? Which
exactly.
I want Penta Dark from Lucha Underground back. That might be my own fault. Maybe.
I do like that they use a different name, though. I do kind of like the name.
It had some issues, but there was also some cool stuff in it, I guess.
Yeah, I think it was a solid match. I think that one spot was really cool. Not the best, but it was good enough. Definitely better than the first one. I think Penta Oscuro entrance was pretty awesome. But the presentation in the match just seemed to be regular Penta with a different name and an all-black aesthetic.
Mm-hmm.
The finish was not great. It feels kind of random for a loss for Black, but the aftermath was good. The debut of Buddy Matthews, but I'm going with Murphy here, is awesome. So soon after Jay White, that was the other recent debut I was trying to think of.
Yep.
After White and Lee, but I don't care. It's great. I'm very happier now because got Jay White and Buddy Murphy in, which are two of my favorite guys, and then Keith Lee's also really good. And I thought King killing the security was really funny.
It was funny, just bludgeoning them.
I just didn't use it. He just goes out of the ring and just starts going up the ramp, killing a bunch of security guys. It was really funny.
And apparently Jay White was only brought in because Khan realized he missed. Remember how I was on here going, well, then that's bringing Keith Lee in is not the forbidden door. That's signing a free agent. And he was like, oh, he listened to the show, our show.
Yep.
Right? And was like, oh, crap, they're right. I better bring in somebody else.
And so he picked the best one.
That's what he's saying, is he realized he misspoke and then didn't want to not deliver, which I appreciate if that's true.
He should misspeak more often.
Right.
Oh, he actually wanted to deliver. See, well, therein lies the main difference between our two companies.
That is correct. Well, one of the many, many differences, yes.
Yes. Next we get Rosa Baker package. I didn't catch much of what they're saying.
It was quick, man.
Yeah,
but I liked it.
But I did catch that they're gonna have a contract signing yesterday.
Yeah, and I thought Thunder Rosa sounded better than usual. I liked Britt using kind of the same logic as Cole, right? Because she's talking about the lights out match doesn't count either.
Right.
So I like that they're both sort of clinging to that. I can't help but feel like the build to this, because to me this, and I've been saying it for months, right?
This is really weird.
This is the money women's match, in my opinion, in this company.
I believe so, yeah.
And I feel like the build should have been hotter. I'm still really looking forward to the match, but me, this is the one that should be getting weeks of attention on your show.
I feel like they should have saved this for Double or Nothing almost.
Right. So I'm a bit underwhelmed by the build.
I am.
But the match should be good. I am
looking forward to it. I don't think I could not be, but I'm not excited for it.
The way it's being built right now doesn't lead me to believe that Britt's losing, right? Whereas if
they really put
then
more
Thunder Rosa
into
is
it.
the first legitimate contender where I'm like, she might be taking the belt off of Britt. But with the way it's been I don't want to say afterthought because that's too strong a word, but not focused on as much as it should be. So it just leads me to believe that
like a Rampage segment
leads me to believe this isn't a title change. But I could be wrong. And the match will be good. But
and if it was a title change, I'd almost be like, I don't know if it's disappointed, but I feel like it deserves more than this for such a change.
Then I'll for sure be looking back when it definitely should have been built more, right? I think it just should have gotten more time and attention than it did.
Also, I feel like it warrants some stipulation. What's that going to be? I don't know. Maybe do we do the first AEW women's cage match?
They could.
Because
Britt has so many people that could get involved.
So are we going to do that? Or are we going to do something else? Insert match stipulation here?
I don't know.
I don't know. But I feel like they needed a better build, more time, more notice.
Agree.
And then also a stipulation would be nice considering the first match was a normal match. They had the lights out match, which does not count, but
and was an amazing bloody mess.
Exactly. So I feel like they need I don't think they can replicate that, but they need something along the lines of that, because I feel like just a normal match, I feel like could be good, but I feel like it would be better as something else.
Yep, these two deserve better booking than this, in my opinion.
Exactly. I thought it was a solid package. It was pretty quick. They didn't say much. Seemed to just be here to set up a contract signing. So that's nice.
They did that.
And I like Baker going back to Rosa, technically never winning against her. So suck it, Thunder Rosa. Next we have Eddie Kingston and Chris Jericho's face-to-face confrontation, which is some wrestling lingo.
Why is Eddie Kingston simply walking to the ring more entertaining than a lot of stuff in just the way he sort of stomps to the ring with purpose? He's another guy, everything he does is awesome. But anyways.
Yeah, and Jericho's got this big shebang, and everyone's singing, and
so Jericho has just flipped to a heel all of a sudden, right?
Pretty much,
apparently.
Yeah,
because Inner Circle had flipped to a face faction, and now they're having issues, and he's sort of taken I'm fine with it.
I think it's safe to say Proud and Powerful are done with that.
Yeah, it's
good.
It's just a quick flip flop for Jericho. It seems right.
It is. It's odd.
Yeah,
for sure. So Eddie said he didn't like the security guys being there. Just send out Brody King again.
Right. They're surprised there's any left, actually.
That's true. That's a good point. Jericho said that he wanted security there so they can talk with Jericho, calling him street thug. And Eddie told him he didn't know what street thug means. Eddie said he's not a sports entertainer. He would rather just fight him. Eddie reminded us this is a wrestling company, not a sports entertainment company, and told him to go down the block, which I thought was funny because they did mention that I think it's they're close. Jericho did mention they're close to Stamford, which is
Yes.
what's it called? Like Titan.
The Titan Towers.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was Titan Towers or if I was screwing it up with something else.
No, I think it's Titan Towers. It's like their head office or whatever.
Right.
Corporate WWE.
Yes. Where am I? There's a lot
Earth.
here. Hold on.
Canada. Ontario.
Oh, Ontario.
I don't want to get more specific than that. Close to Toronto.
Hold on. Jericho said, there we go. Jericho said that this sports entertainment will actually be entertaining because Jericho's going to tell him a story. Is that like implying that other sports entertainment is not entertaining? Because that's
what he's saying.
A true statement.
Yep, that's what he's saying.
Jericho said when he first heard about Eddie coming to AEW, the locker room was excited, and Jericho wondered who the hell is Eddie Kingston. Jericho said he thought they were talking about Eddie Edwards, and then he saw Eddie, so then he realized when he didn't hear about Kingston before, because he thought Eddie looked like a jobber, exposing the business a bit. Always love it. Jericho
he goes further than that in a second.
Oh, he does. Jericho said he saw Eddie's match against what's his name and heard his promo. So then Chris realized that this guy's special. Jericho told Eddie that he'd be a huge babyface, and he was right.
That's what I don't
Eddie
like.
says, "What's a babyface?"
Right.
Jericho said it was a feel-good story, and Eddie overcame his physical, mental issues. He's called him fat.
A little bit.
After all those years, he signed a contract with AEW, made to the big time at age of 38 years old, which I thought was kind of amusing. So it's like, you're already this old, and you finally made it to the big time.
And that's what he was saying, and I was already famous at 21 or whatever, right?
Jericho said he didn't give a crap about his sob story. He didn't give a crap about Eddie. Jericho said he realized that Eddie was jealous of Jericho, with Jericho saying that Eddie made it to the big time at 38 years old, while Jericho made it to the big time at 22 years old.
Yes, there you go.
God, you know nothing.
Right? So wrong. That's why I don't do the trivia segment
exactly. Next. Jericho said by the time he was 38, he already main evented pay-per-views, toured the world, headlining arenas, a multiple-time world champion, and made millions of dollars. I do want to try trivia-ing you sometime. Is that a word?
Trivia? No, it is not. Trivia is not a verb, unfortunately.
Oh, damn. Jericho told Eddie he was jealous of Jericho. Chris said that the reason he is jealous is because Eddie knows he can never be at Jericho's level. Okay. Eddie said he doesn't care. Eddie said that the reason Jericho main evented in all of these places is because Eddie wasn't there. Eddie said that he's not like Jericho or the rest of the carnies that lie. He said he'll do things his way and he'll be himself until he dies. I think that rings true for a lot of people. Eddie admitted that he didn't want to talk to him the way Jericho tries to talk to guys in the back. Eddie suggested that they have a match at the pay-per-view. No, thank you.
I'm okay with it. I trust Eddie Kingston.
I am, but I don't.
And Jericho's in shape now, right? So
it's just Jericho. Like I'm just like
Jericho fatigue.
Yeah. Jericho told Eddie that he knows his family history, while noting that Eddie's first hero was his uncle and he was a failure. Jericho noted that Eddie believed in his father and he was a failure, so deep down inside Eddie thinks he's a failure as well. Jericho told Eddie his problem is he can't win the big one, and in this company, Jericho is the big one. Not Punk, not Danielson, not Moxley, not Hangman.
Well, he's delusional heel again, right? So I guess I'll get further evidence.
I would hope that's what it is.
Yeah,
because
I think so.
It's reeking a little too much of the possible truth.
Yep.
Jericho said, if you want to challenge Jericho Revolution, then you've got it. Jericho told Eddie that if he can beat him, then Jericho will shake his hand and tell Eddie that he has his respect. Wow, high stakes here. Jericho said that then he'll have Eddie get over his fear of success. Eddie said it's great that they have the match, but Eddie said don't give him a mimosa match version of Jericho the Jericho that got pushed off the cage by MJF. Eddie wanted the Jericho that was the first world champion in AEW, that bled buckets of Tennessee and that got respect from Tenryu in Japan. Eddie wanted the Chris Jericho that turned WCW upside down. He wanted the Jericho that your close friend Levesque hated. You mean Terra Rising?
That's right, Terra Rising.
Eddie said that Chris had to give him that because if he doesn't, then Eddie will eat him alive. Jericho said he'll give him that Jericho, and Chris said that Eddie doesn't believe that he can win the big one. Well, Jericho told him that he is nothing more than a loser and he will always be. Jericho told Eddie he can't win the big one ever, and then he leaves.
Yeah, I like this. I mean, Eddie Kingston's awesome. His delivery is always great. I don't love that he didn't attack Chris Jericho a few times. I really think calling him a street thug, I feel like that was almost Kingston didn't know that was coming, and that to him is a bigger insult than what Jericho thinks it is. And I feel like Kingston was like, I should be attacking him after this, but couldn't. And I don't think it should matter that there's security there, especially when Jericho was going after his family and stuff. It felt weird to me that Eddie just like didn't attack. But anyways, I kind of liked what was going on here. Jericho saying like, you're jealous because I was so successful young and you're just 38 now and starting to be successful. And Eddie basically his rebuttal is, yeah, because I wasn't willing to do the political butt kissing and all of that crap that you're doing. Like, kind of like you're a bit of a sellout and that's why you're successful. And I'm real and I'm true to myself. And that's why it's been a bit harder for me. Right. So, and I do like the adding in the whole you can't win the big one. I think that's like instant little story that I can get behind. So I think this was too long. It seems to be one of my criticisms of a lot of AEW sort of promo segments like this, but I was entertained, I have to say. So I think overall it was good, but I had a few minor issues with it. I think Eddie should have been attacking Jericho at some point. Eddie Kingston, I know, doesn't care that there's 4 or 5 security guards there, right? As soon as you attack his family and his uncle and his father and stuff and call him a loser, to me, you're getting jumped.
It could seem like he's trying to keep his cool, but
right.
Why?
Right. So anyways, I thought it was a good promo and it builds towards a match that I think will be okay. I mean, Jericho's back in shape, so that bodes well for the match, and Eddie's awesome, so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think this is pretty good. A little long, like you said, but I did like it. I don't love the match is going to be on pay-per-view because it just doesn't feel necessary. But it's okay, we've had worse. Sting at Double or Nothing or Paul White at All Out. I think Kingston was awesome again. He's very real. He made some good points. I liked his ending bit where he was like wanting Jericho's best. I forgot about the mimosa match.
Yep.
Like I totally forgot about that whole thing. It's because it's been so long since they made Cassidy kind of a star.
And then when he just took his little fall, quote unquote, off the top of the cage too into like a crash mat. So I agree that pointing those things out was kind of funny.
Which were, well, that second one was a highlight of babyface Jericho. So maybe it just represents like babyface Jericho as a whole.
Yeah, I guess.
Jericho was better than usual here too. I think he was pretty heelish, which I do enjoy much better.
Well, yeah,
I
agree.
Did like it better, but I missed like Le Champion Jericho. I remember enjoying that. I remember there was that one segment with Jericho and MJF, and like it was some sort of like paradoxical kind of thing. I don't remember what it was, but it was like Jericho wanted him, or like he was asking him if he wanted MJF to be in the inner circle, and MJF was like, "Do you want me to be in the inner circle?" And they kept. I remember that was really funny. That's what it was. I'm not too high on the match from an in-ring perspective, but they could get me into it with Kingston and all. But I mean, they only have 1 week.
And if they make it personal enough, then Kingston will really bring it, right? So I'm confident it'll be watchable at least.
Next we have an AHFO promo. Hardy talks about how Andrade is going to face Guevara on Rampage and bring home the TNT title to AHFO. I'm pretty sure Andrade lost to the Springboard Cutter, but
this is where me as the old man starts to get annoyed by the sound mixing that's going on for the next little bit here.
Hardy talks about Cassidy scoring the win in some multi-man tag match on Dark Elevation, and Andrade says he doesn't need anyone to win the title. Then Hardy, for some reason, suggests him, Cassidy, on Andrade versus Guevara, Sting and Darby Allin in a Tornado Trios match at the pay-per-view. And Andrade likes the idea. I don't know why they suggested that, but it's okay.
Yeah, I honestly struggled to hear some of this. The background music I felt was foreground music, which was not the point, and that continues a little bit later as well. So kind of made me mad, but a Tornado Trios match should be fun. I know you don't like two of the people involved, but I think the point is they can sort of be hidden in a in a trios match for sure. Tornado, they got to be a bit involved, but I think that match will be fun. I just still don't want Andrade tangled up with these guys, but anyways, I guess that's what it is. So I guess this was fine for what it was. I don't know.
Yeah, it was really weird. Like I thought it was like it was so weird and really random, and the music, like you said, made it harder to pay attention to.
I missed most of what Andrade said, I'm not gonna lie.
I like the sound of Andrade versus Guevara on Rampage, but I don't think the trios match sounds very interesting. Doesn't sound like a very necessary addition to the pay-per-view card. It sounds like they're kind of scrounging for stuff. Like Kingston Jericho, kinda. I can't say I exactly have the desire to see Matt Hardy and Sting in the same match in 2022 on a pay-per-view.
But there's a lot of buffer there.
Yeah, true. If we took a Hardy to make Andrade and Private Party, I think that would be much better.
Yep.
I think that'd be, because Private Party are solid. I'm not sure you can replace Sting with, but I'd take anybody. I think that would be an upgrade. Anyone that makes a little bit of sense.
Right.
I honestly think Guevara Andrade would fit better on a pay-per-view, and then you get another title match. Again, the TNT title is rarely on pay-per-view, so
Yeah, it's more of a TV one.
Another mid-card title. Boom, title match on a pay-per-view.
You and your mid-card titles. Let's just give everyone a belt. Everyone gets a belt, and we'll just collect belts and trade belts.
Yeah.
No.
Sure.
No good.
It'll be fun. It'll be like trading cards.
See how many belts you can accumulate.
Yes. Well, yeah, you trade like a cruiserweight title for the TNT title. Boom, you have 2 belts. They're the same belt, but they're 2 belts.
Right.
Next we get 10 versus Ricky Starks, Face of Revolution ladder match qualifier.
With close to half of it on a commercial break. Another one of my pet peeves now.
The way I described it, a short match unless you enjoy watching picture-in-picture.
Right, which we don't. So
I do not.
No.
I hate it. I in total noted 3 things.
What are they? One's going to be a nice spear.
One is the finish.
Yep.
There's a vertical suplex by 10. That's where we're at. We're
can confirm.
A vertical suplex.
Yep.
And a discus lariat by 10 after the commercial break. And Starks had avoided the full Nelson. 10 looks for the full Nelson again, but then Starks kind of tears with the mask to blind him and then hit a spear for the win.
Yep. I like the heel tactics, like turning the mask around or whatever it was. And the spear looked good. His spear is usually quite nice. And I think it makes sense. It's about time they put a smaller, quicker guy into the ladder match, right? Because so far it's 3 powerhouses. It's Hobbs, who? Hobbs, Lee, and Wardlow, right? So it's about time they get a smaller, faster guy in there. I don't know. I think 10 looks okay sometimes. I still don't think... I think a lot of people like him more than I do. I think he's a decent big man, but I don't know. And again, this was probably like a 6-minute match with 3 of it being on a commercial break, so I didn't really see a lot of it, to be honest. It was fine, I guess.
Yeah, like it's really annoying. Like this, it felt like a worse version of last week. Like it was just not. It was like there wasn't anything. Like I don't have much to say here. There were a few solid moves which I tried to make note of, but again, the commercial break was incredibly poorly timed. I missed the majority of this match, and I can only judge on what I actually saw. Yep. What I saw was fine, but it was very little. The finish was fine, but would have been more suitable after a solid match, I think.
Because we always record and watch, because I don't like commercials, so we fast forward the commercials, and that's just how it's going to be. So sorry if anything super mega amazing ever happens on a commercial. I mean, most of the time I think they'll tell us when we come back to TV, but we won't notice it because we don't generally watch the commercials, unless it's like a super captivating match. I've watched through the commercials a few times, and sometimes when they say we get picture-in-picture, we don't as well, so there's always that possibility too.
Right, yeah. Sometimes, actually, a lot of the times used to be the running joke is that we don't
get picture-in-picture.
I almost thought we didn't, but then I was like, oh no, we did.
We actually did here.
Don't care.
Yep.
Next we get Undisputed, a Buck segment. The Bucks say that was a double cross, and Kyle O'Reilly says they still have a shot next week. And plus, the Bucks should know that if it comes down to them, you fight it out. And I mean, I guess that was an opportune time.
Mm-hmm.
Matt says next week they do have another shot, and they're more motivated to go to the pay-per-view and kick Redragon's ass. As the Bucks leave, and Redragon keep like talking to them when not Cole like just shouts at them and tells them to get along with the Bucks, and they are all a team. And Cole has enough as it is on his plate with the world champion, which he does.
Mm-hmm. Things continue to slowly escalate, right? And Cole continues to try and sort of mediate it all. So I like this simple story because you've got 2 tag teams who are super. They have ego involved. They're all competitive, so they're going to have issues with each other, and Cole just trying to be the glue that keeps them all together. So I still enjoy this. It's a really simple story to tell, which are sometimes the best, right? Simple, realistic. These are all proud, successful people, so they kind of take issue with another team in the same kind of position. So it makes sense to me, and I like it. And Cole's always really good anytime he has the mic, right? He can make it feel real. So I like this.
And I like pretty much anything he's involved with.
Right.
Thought it was a solid little segment, nothing major. It does make it seem like the Casino Royale will be made up some teams at least.
Yes, you're right. That's the point where we realize sounds like the Bucks are in that one as well.
Some of the runners up from this one at least.
Right.
With the Bucks being the runner up.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So that's good, and I do think they really need to do. I think the Bucks need to win here. I think they're a good kind of buffer team between the champions and then the fresh challengers. I feel like that'll be a great match.
And you can continue moving that story along with Red Dragon and the Bucks. Yep.
Exactly. And I would really love that 3-way when they do that. I think that'll be really exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Next we get match of the year contender. Jade Cargill versus the Bunny for the TBS title. What match was it? It was some match next week, and JR's like, could be match of the year, and then you're just like,
oh yeah, I
like,
forget who it
you
was.
could say that
Clear,
about
definitely.
anything. Yeah.
You can say that about any match till it happens, right?
Right.
Could be
Like,
match of the year.
We could be getting like Sting, Matt Hardy, and I could be like,
Could be match of the year.
Match of the year candidate right here.
Right.
Technically, every match is.
So again, we get one women's match, and Bunny gets a part of it, right? Like,
oh my god,
I don't
I didn't even
understand,
think
but
of that.
anyways,
Yeah,
talk about it.
It's getting to be like a bit much.
What, Bunny or just
yeah,
the one women's
Bunny.
match or both? Yeah.
Both in
Yeah.
a way, yeah.
Yep.
Like I feel like there is a lot more interesting things going on outside the women's division, of course,
Right.
but like even if you're like it's squeezing in a Serena Deeb thing,
Right.
like
Yep.
I don't know, something,
I agree.
or like why couldn't the Baker Rosa segment have gotten time here?
Right.
Like
Gotten a bit more time or something. Yes.
something like that. Like I don't know, just like something else to give them something to do.
A lot of talented women who don't get much time.
Exactly. Like
week
I
to week.
understand. Like for me, yes, I think there's far more interesting things outside the women's division, but I also understand they don't have to, but they should be like making it kind of equal.
And if they focused on it more, maybe there would be more interesting,
exactly.
right? Like,
so maybe it is just not interesting because there's not like where's Layla Hirschman? Why don't you bring that back
Right.
up a bit just as something
and then
for them to
seemed
do?
like they were heating up Statlander, and then she's been gone for weeks. Like,
Exactly. Like I don't like. I feel like that's more interesting than a
even if they
TBS
go, we're
title
gonna put a
match.
women's segment in hour 1 and hour 2, right? And just
Yeah,
double it
that
up.
works.
I think
Yeah,
you're fine.
for sure.
Yep.
I do think they need to do more than what they're doing.
I agree.
Even if it's just like a little more, just something.
Yep.
Maybe change it. Some weeks you might not have a lot. Some weeks maybe you do. Like I don't know. I feel like you kind of have to juggle time, or honestly, like dedicate one of the YouTube shows to the women's division.
Right.
I don't know. That's not like the biggest spotlight, but at least it's something dedicated. Like I feel like, do you really need Dark and Dark Elevation? I don't
Yeah.
think so.
Well, and I feel like a couple of their major promo segments every week, you could cut a couple minutes from each of those sometimes, right? Take a snip here and there and
Kingston Jericho.
create like 6 minutes where you could fit a decent match in or something. I
Or
don't know,
you
but
could
anyways.
easily fit a segment in that time too. Like whatever
Yeah.
you want to do. Like I think you could do something else. I feel like they just need something else because I feel like the women's division does warrant more.
Yes,
I feel like
it's a
at
bit
least
afterthoughty, which is not what it should be.
exactly. And I feel like they were making strides because
They
the
were.
women's division was definitely a weak point
It
of
was
their
for sure.
of their show early on. And I feel like especially last year it was doing a little better with
And they did
Baker
an amazing
and
job
Shida.
building Britt.
Exactly.
Yep.
But even then, I feel like she's starting to fizzle out
Yes,
a
a
little
little bit.
Like I still love her, but I find myself not as interested in it. And maybe that is because of a lack of prominence.
Yes.
And when in the women's division, like you said, it's kind of getting to the point of an afterthought.
Yes.
So it's kind of affecting even the best points of the
Right.
division.
I
right?
agree.
So I think they need more than this, but we're getting carried away.
That's okay. It's good
s-
conversation.
for sure. So they're notable. There was like this hammerlock wrestle by Cargill pretty early on. I made note of that because early on we got kind of wrestled.
Yep, we did.
So that's nice. I'm not sure who it's for, but I don't think either of them need it or should need it.
Not at that
least.
point, no.
Basement forearm to the back of the head by Bunny when Cargill's seat on the apron, then Russian leg sweep into the barricade. There's this weird thing where Hardy's distracting the ref. He tosses brass knucks to Bunny, and Cargill gets tossed the title from
Mhm.
Sterling. And then so she blocks the brass knuck shot with the title. Then Hardy gets ejected, and so then Cargill's smiling at that, and then somehow ends up getting rolled up by Bunny for 2.
Which the crowd kind of bid on. Honestly, I made a note of that. Like the crowd bit that near fall there.
I thought it was weird because like it's kind of it was a weird sequence, and B, it's kind of disrespectful way to use the title. Like you're just letting the title get punched with brass knucks.
Right, and then she dropped it because even though she's a heel, it's like she wasn't going to use the title to hit her with it, which I thought was interesting
Yeah, it
too.
seems kind of dumb. Cargo counters the down the rabbit hole, which is a move that I've seen Finn Balor do a million times, so I don't buy it as a finisher at all. I do find the name kind of funny though. Down the
Bunny
rabbit
delivers
hole.
it better, okay? That's why it's more devastating. I think we can all agree that Bunny is a better wrestler than Finn Balor, correct?
Yeah, sure, especially because Bunny has been doing this
Long,
a long
time.
time.
She has. We looked
Right.
it up.
So
Yep.
I think she's way better than Finn Balor. Has Finn Balor been wrestling longer? Maybe, but is he a bunny? I don't
I
think
don't
so.
think so.
And so Cargo counters that into Jaded for the win. Also, Cargo has green hair. So,
Yes, apparently.
yeah.
I couldn't tell, but
Oh, right.
My color blindness or color deficiency, brown and green, are one of my issues. So if you had told me her hair was brown, I would have believed you.
I should have done that.
You could have. I was going to ask your brother because he's got the same deficiency as I. So we should have just unsolicited asked him.
It's just like I want to know. I want to see. I'm curious what that's like.
You want
like,
my eyes for a day or two?
Like
a lot of people have told me that.
I just want to know. Like, it's just so weird. I don't see it being possible. Like, you just see like a color and you're just like, is that this or that? Like, I just don't.
Well, I was talking to Paul, one of my high school friends, when I went to see him, right, about it, and he even admits that forever, before he really understood it, his thing was, how could you be colorblind? Because why wouldn't you just train yourself that every time you see that, you're going to call it blue? Even if what the rest of the world sees is yellow, I should just learn that when I see that, call it blue, right? But now he understands it's confusion. Like, I'm never actually sure when it comes to certain colors and shades what I'm seeing. So I can't memorize it because I don't recognize it.
It's like a case to case kind of thing.
Right. So it's blue, purples, browns, greens for me. And then just a whole bunch of colors I don't know, right? Like, I just don't know what I don't know what
like maroon
turquoise or maroon or burgundy, all these, like, I don't know what these things are.
Yeah.
They just are words to me.
Yeah,
but anyway, sorry.
It's so weird. Cargill says I wrote she us. And then she is 20-0, soon to be 30 and then 50. Kind of jumping.
Who's next? She said it. She said the thing.
Next. They're chanting Goldberg, and I'm like, Cargill.
Do you think she was supposed to? Because then she quickly changed, not corrected herself, but she added who's left. So I was wondering if she's supposed to say who's next.
Maybe it's a reference to Goldberg, and then maybe it's like her own spin
or
on it after.
Oh crap, I'm not supposed to use that.
I don't know. I think it's funny though. Me too. I think that was good.
She is getting the Goldberg treatment. So
yeah, and then Ty Conti comes out. Conti says, though I don't think Goldberg wrestled on WCW Dark.
No. Although he was about as green as she is when he started.
That's true.
No joke.
Conti says she isn't just next. She's the one who's going to beat Cargill's ass. So she runs to the ring and they kind of brawl. Bunny gets involved for some reason. She takes a tie KO and then Conti takes a bump kick.
Right. The match was whatever. It was decent. It was short. It was the expected result. The crowd,
it wasn't
I think,
as bad as I expected.
The crowd was into it. I think that helped. Like, they were pretty into this. I didn't mind the match. And I like the involvement of Conti. I think she's the perfect contender for this title, right? She's really good. I don't think she's quite main.
I don't think exactly that's.
She's main title material. So this is where she fits perfectly. And I liked Bunny coming back because then they can have the tie KO, right? But it protects Cargill because Cargill's not taking that at this point, right? So Conti gets to showcase her finisher, but Cargill doesn't have to take it and can keep looking strong. I like
the tie KO way better than the DD tie.
Yes. So the aftermath was fine, and I'm glad that Ty's back on TV at least, right? I mean, and this is how she gets on in a 2-minute run-in sort of thing.
This is the perfect spot for her on the card at this moment.
I think so
definitely.
too.
I think this was fine. That's all you can really say. It wasn't great or even good. Wasn't horrible or offensive either.
No.
It's just kind of there. Nothing, not being super interesting or anything. Doesn't help that they're both heels, but the crowd was oddly into it at parts.
They were.
And nobody in their right mind would buy Bunny as a champion, even if she was challenging Sky Blue for the title.
Sky Blue.
I guess there's a strongish defense for Cargill, but even then it's just okay. Like the Conti's challenging next, because she feels like a perfect fit in this division right now. The issue is, I think she should be champion, but I don't know if this is the right time.
But again, when's the last time we saw Conti? Oh, she's not. There's no end in sight for this undefeated for Jade.
That sucks, because I feel like our Conti is perfect for that title. So.
She is, but again, she's been barely visible for a while now. So if you're gonna
through no fault of her own.
No, I'm not saying that, but if you want to heat her up as a title contender, we need to see her. You know what I mean?
Oh, which is I think what they did with Baker a little while ago, right?
Right.
Before then, now.
So they know how to do it, and it's possible. They just have to decide to take the time to.
Mm-hmm. So we got Keith Lee interview, and Lee's talking about the other entrants. Starks interrupts and says, Team Taz have been running things around here.
I wrote that down verbatim.
I don't care what he's done because he's starting over.
You've been running things. Team Taz has been running things around here. Okay, bud.
If your name is Hook, maybe, but even then, he's on Rampage, my guy.
That's right.
And
Rampage exclusive.
I wouldn't even say he's, like, running things either. I mean, Punk kind of was at first, remember? He only was wrestling on Rampage. Like,
yes.
Hobbs, someone else. Yeah. Another guy.
That other guy.
Then there was, I think it was Bobby Fish was on Dynamite.
I don't remember.
Boberto Fish. He says Lee better be smart and mind his own business because they be running things and they don't run things
That's
with
right.
Keith Lee.
He's got to get permission to do anything from Team Taz because they run the show.
I'm surprised he didn't like sign off to be in the ladder match. Like, they didn't make him sign a contract and then turn on them the next week.
Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah.
And Lee and Hobbs stare off briefly, which I think would be interesting. Yeah, they didn't like have Lee do something like challenge for the FTW title because the world title of the if they're running things, the FTW title is the most prestigious title in all wrestling, right?
Yep. It's been defended once?
Like, it's been defended a few times.
Really?
At least with Cage, like on Dark and whatnot. And then I think he defended against Hobbs one time a while ago, and Starks against Seidel and Lethal at least recently. So it's been defended a few times. Starks and Cage, because obviously there was a title change.
Yeah. I thought Starks was good on the mic here. He usually is. Really simple interaction.
I mean, he'd have to be if he's running things, right?
They're just trying to build a bit of heat between these two. I think it was successful, right? It's just so they kind of interact before they're in that ladder match. So I thought this was fine. Keith Lee didn't really say anything, but even what he did say, his delivery again sounds different, and I like it better than what he was doing in WWE.
The ladder match feels not very interesting because
so far it's not.
Keith Lee is good, cool. I think Wardlow makes sense because they've been working on that, right? I do kind of like Starks in there actually.
Yeah.
Hobbs is the only one I'm not super interested in. Like, I mean, I like Starks in there. I don't think that's particularly interesting either.
A lot of duplicate powerhouse dudes for a ladder match so far.
And Orange Cassidy, like.
Yeah, I don't care.
Okay.
I'm kind of not that into Orange Cassidy right now. I know people will be upset with that.
I don't think he's bad. I don't think he's good either. I think he's just there.
Yep.
And the gimmick is kind of wearing thin.
The gimmick limits him, right? I think. Yeah.
This is all right. I would have liked for Lee to say a little more, but it's fine. I'd like the little interaction with Lee and Hobbs because I think that'll be kind of interesting in the match itself. One thing I'll say is Hobbs does kind of have a purpose here. I feel like Hobbs versus Lee is kind of interesting. I found it funny Starks is saying they've been running the place because that's just like...
That's ridiculous.
That's like saying...
There's even heel logic-wise, that's ridiculous.
That's like saying Bunny and Penelope Ford have been running the women's
division. Been running the show.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's just funny.
Nightmare Collective running the show.
Oh my god. Nightmare Collective, man. What happened to that? No, the Factory running the division.
That's right.
I also didn't notice at first, but they do have two Team Taz members in there now.
Yes.
I don't mind that one's like a big battle royal one. When it's just kind of ladder match with like just a small pool of talent, I prefer to have they're all left to their own devices. I feel like
depends how they tell that story, I guess.
True,
for me.
but just the way I'm thinking about it, I just don't feel like I don't need this alliance dynamic in there just because I don't know. It could be good, but I feel like it hurts it a bit. I don't know. I just would rather like everyone is kind of on their own.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be like putting the Acclaimed in the match.
Yeah.
Which they could have.
Yeah, again, it depends what they do with it for me.
Right. I think Caster's in the first one, right?
I believe that is correct.
I wonder if they'll do a mystery entrant again, because remember the mystery one last time was Ethan Page?
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, where have Men of the Year been?
Could be Josh Alexander.
Ha ha ha. That'd be funny.
He has to get his visa sorted out, but...
Yeah. Where have Men of the Year been? I love Men of the Year. They could be in the thingy next week.
They could be.
The casino thing.
They could be.
They're going to play some blackjack.
They could. Okay, keep going. I got to go back to more basketball, man.
Let's go, because we're at our main event, which does not feel like a main event. Brian Danielson versus Daniel Garcia. I feel like not even that. I feel like he's main evented before. Like, I just feel like it feels very like minor. I feel like nothing on the show really felt like it would be main event.
Interesting.
I feel like it. I don't know. It's kind of lackluster.
I'm almost to the point where Danielson versus anyone you can put anywhere.
No, for sure. Yeah. And I feel like this is good for Garcia, but for me, when they're wrestling Danielson, it's not almost like, oh, they're good because they had this match with Danielson. It's, oh, Danielson's awesome. He made them look good. Like,
there's
I feel
partly that is the case for sure. I
mean, you'd have to be good to have a good match with Danielson. Yes. Like, I feel like you have to have some level.
I don't know. I'd watch him wrestle a broomstick at this point.
Exactly. Like, I feel like Danielson's so good he can bring anyone up to closest level. So that's why, like, if someone's looking good against Danielson, I almost don't trust it at first because I need to see them
do it with someone
either
else.
Carry a match or go with someone who's not Danielson because Danielson can carry anyone whenever he damn pleases.
Yep.
I thought it was a pretty technically sound and competitive match, although a little on the short side. Not to the fault of the commercial break, I think, this time. I think it got decent time outside of commercial break.
Yep.
Brian ties up Garcia's legs and hits stomach punches at one point. He looks repeatedly for the label lock. He keeps, like, rolling through to keep it going, which I thought was interesting. He even, like, wrestles off Garcia of a rope break, and then before Garcia gets a rope break again, the one move that I noted from Garcia as a front chop block.
Yes. And then he was doing a lot of counters and things.
He was doing stuff, it's just not a lot of that I caught.
Right.
Top rope shotgun dropkick by Danielson. Tiger suplex by Danielson for 2, and then as he kicks it, he turns into cattle mutilation, which I think is really cool. There's a wrist lock elbow exchange, so like they're standing out there holding, they got like a wrist clutch, they're like holding each other's hands, and they just like kind of like they're still holding each other's hands, just like trading forearms. Which I thought was really interesting. I like that.
It was cool. Looked pretty stiff too. They're getting the slapping sound, and obviously no one's thigh slapping because they're holding hands for the whole thing, right? So they were just hitting each other in the neck basically.
Feels fine. They're holding hands.
Yep, they were.
There's a triangle choke with the elbows, and then he makes Garcia pass out while flexing. So I feel like he's kind of slipping on the different finish every time now, but I feel like
because that was the same as last time, right?
Or like
where he beat Moriarty, didn't he? I think because I remember him flexing.
But I know at least he's done this before. Like even, I feel like when he was in the Dark Order,
I think it might have been Moriarty, like 2 in a row. I could be wrong.
I think you're right too, actually, but I can check in a second. But yeah, I think you're right too. And then Brian says that's what he wanted to see and asks the fans if Garcia was violent enough. 2.0 attack Danielson. Mox makes the save and clears house, and they kind of stare off. And Danielson says Mox has the match and tells him not to be surprised if Mox is the only one bleeding.
Right.
Which I don't know. After his match with Hangman, I find that very unlikely.
Bloody. I think part of the reason that you didn't get a lot of highlights for Garcia is because a lot of his time on offense was during a commercial break again. I even made a note of that, right? Like a bunch of his time on offense was a commercial. So again, I'm struggling to keep things objective when it comes to Danielson matches. I just enjoy watching everything he does. Just technical ability, also mixed with like this viciousness now, right? And just like you're saying, his ability to elevate whoever he is facing. He is my absolute favorite thing to watch in wrestling right now. And this, like I said before, this was not the case with Danielson. I'm not like I don't have a history of being a Danielson mark, even though I hate using that word. But just what he's done since he's come is amazing. He's, for me, the clearest example of WWE writing and direction holding somebody back, right? Like this is the Bryan Danielson that we should have had for the last however many years, but we're never going to get it in that like
but you're right,
in that sterile environment in WWE. What about Moriarty?
Yeah,
I thought so. He's just so talented. Everything he does is believable in the ring, outside the ring, promos, doesn't matter. He's great. Really good match. No surprise to say that it's my favorite Daniel Garcia match so far.
That's funny.
And honestly, the Mox Danielson match could easily steal any show, right? Even though
I am very excited for that. I think I'm actually like, I don't love the addition of the trios match and Kingston Jericho, but I'm pretty excited 'cause I'm very interested in Cole Hangman.
Yep.
I've been asking for that. I think if the Bucks get to the tag title match, that's absolute money. I think that'll be awesome, and I think Mox Danielson is just the match I never knew I really needed.
And we're getting that dream match, and we also still get the suspense of whether they're going to work together or not. And I think that's cool that we don't have all those answers yet, right? They've got to bleed together first, is what Mox is saying, and then they'll make that decision later. So I thought a really good main event, not like an absolute top tier one, obviously, but a very good match.
No, I think it was a pretty good match. I don't think it warranted a main event spot, but quite frankly, I can't think of anything else that would fit much better on the show.
Right.
Unfortunately,
it's the match of the night for me.
I don't know. I enjoyed the Battle Royal.
Did you? Yeah, that would be my second probably.
I like this, but I wouldn't say like I think I genuinely enjoyed parts of the Battle Royal.
Right,
you know?
that's fair.
So I'm not sure where to go.
Right.
And I guess that's not good because I probably shouldn't enjoy Battle Royal the most.
Right. The opener.
Considering what Brian's point in this match was, I would have liked some more offense from Garcia, not on a commercial break, as you mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
At least more that I could have made note of. Garcia looked pretty good for what I saw that he got, and Danielson looked great as always. I think some of the technical exchanges and the strike exchanges was really cool. Like when Danielson, they were on the mat, he's just kicking him in the head. Yes. All Danielson strikes are so great too. Every time, I like the aftermath a bit even too, because it does set up that match that I think should just be awesome. And then I think we could still get the team up too. It's not out of the question. Just could be like the Mox is testing him to see like if he still really wants it, and then maybe they will do that because I feel like there's some money in that team too if they wanted to go that route.
Yeah, I remember while we were watching this, I was going, why does it look like he's actually just kicking the guy in the face? Like, what is it about Daniel Brian Danielson,
Oh my god.
that allowed, like, is the other guy going like, yep, just kick me in the face, or is he somehow just better at it, like better at making it look real,
Right.
I guess,
Just-
right? Because it's
he's
like
not even, like,
he's
lifetime,
just
he's
stomping right on the guy's face somehow. But anyways,
exactly.
Overall thoughts on this episode, I guess. I like the main event. Nothing felt really big time on this. I think you're right.
There
You
was
know what I
nothing,
mean?
like, that really, like,
Because even
came
House
to
of
me.
Black Death Triangle disappointed me a little bit. The Battle Royal is good, but it was still a Battle Royal. And then like Ten and Ricky Starks and Cargill and Bunny, like, again, nothing special there, right? So this did not feel like a really impactful show, like a top-notch show. I would still say I enjoyed it. The MJF promo obviously was very interesting. We'll see whether I like it, how much I like it by the payoff for it. So I don't know. I'd have to say this was... I was entertained by the show. I didn't dislike the show, but it also wasn't in the top tier of Dynamites for me. So I would say it gets a solid B this week. What about you?
Yeah, if I were looking at in-ring action, it's not the strongest effort. I think the opener Battle Royal was good. I definitely enjoyed it. At the end of the day, it was just a Battle Royal. I don't think I should have enjoyed it the most
I agree.
on the show, which I think I did. House of Black versus Penta Oscuro and Pac was better than the first, but suffered from that finish. But I can forgive it a bit because freaking Buddy Murphy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that debut was nice.
10 versus Starks was like, I can't really say much about
Standard.
that. Stupid commercial breaks.
Yep.
Cargill versus Bunny was solid, better than it had any right to be, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And like on a better show, it would probably just be meh, but I feel like I see it in a better light because there's not much competition.
Mm-hmm.
I think the main event was pretty good, but could have been more for a main event. And in terms of segments, I think the Hangman promo after the opener was pretty nice. I like the MJF promo because it's just, I don't know what to think, and maybe that's good every now and then.
And Kingston Jericho was good
Kingston
too.
Jericho was pretty enjoyable, especially Kingston. I really enjoy when he's got time to speak. The other Undisputed Era Bucks thing was alright, and then the Keith Lee interview was good. The AHFO thing was kind of confusing.
Yeah,
I didn't really
agree.
care for that. So in general, it was just kind of an average show, or maybe a little below average, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I'll go with a B as well.
Yep, that sounds fair, I think.
Yeah, not exactly a standout.
Not their best effort, but still enjoyed quite a bit of stuff on it. And that'll move us into a little bit of a break to take some trivia, where we'll continue what we started last week in a segment we call Off the Top of His Head. All right, so we're back to looking at the history and origins of WWE from my trivia book from my birthday. So you did very well last week. So let's see. I haven't even really looked at these questions, to be honest with you. So I don't know I can't say if it's going to be easy or not. But even when I do say it looks really hard, you generally do well. So probably it's easy. In what year, this one's good, did WWE launch its own 24/7 streaming network? And I have options if you'd like.
I'll take that.
2014, 15, 16, or 17?
2014.
Correct.
Okay,
Why did you suddenly know?
I didn't know if you were talking about the network or not, or like it was like a
No, the network.
home video thing or whatever. Like
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
So
the network.
if it's the network, then definitely 2014.
I mean, I'm not sorry. It's their question. I read it. They're sorry. If anyone's going to be sorry, it's them.
There, sorry.
The new generation era took place between what years?
Ooh.
I have options if you'd like them.
Okay, I would say like 91 to
Too early.
too early.
Yeah.
Really? 92.
Still a bit early.
Really? I would.
So here's your options.
Like 93, 96.
93 to 97 is what they're saying.
I didn't
So
know
you're in the
97.
ballpark at least. I would not have even known what era they were referring to, frankly.
Michaels and Brett.
Oh, okay. The reality era of WWE took place between what years, would you
What?
say?
What does that even mean?
So here's your options. 2008 to 2014, 2014 to 2016, 2009 to 2012, or 2016 to 2019. This is clearly a book by them, or is it? Because I don't know what this era is.
14, 16?
Correct.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
I remember in 2016.
Why did you guess that?
I don't know. Because I remember, at least in 2016 when Shane took over Raw, I remember they kept touting it as a new era.
Oh, okay. There you go.
I don't know. So
Good
I don't know
work.
if that... I don't know.
Nope, because here it comes. Well, maybe. When did the new era of WWE begin?
Spring 2016.
Correct. 2016 is
It was
correct.
after Mania.
Good. All right. Which of these business moguls acquired the rights to one of WWF's biggest rivals, WCW? So who
What?
was basically the owner of that?
Ted Turner?
Correct. I know they're the media mogul. They like to, or business mogul.
Mogul.
In what country did Buddy Rogers' defeat to Bruno Sammartino take place in 1963?
It was Madison Square Garden.
No.
No?
No.
Really? I don't know.
You want options?
Yeah.
Argentina, Brazil, Chile, Denmark.
What was the second one?
Brazil.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Brazil. Did you know, or was it just a guess? Or it sounded familiar?
It sounded right.
Right. In what year did WWF change its name to just 2 W's and an F?
Ooh. 1980?
Very close.
79.
Correct. Very good. Your options were 79, 80, 81, 82. I would not have gotten close on that either. Hulk Hogan. Heard of him?
No. Is he any good?
I wish I hadn't, but anyways. He was poached from a close rival of the then WWF. What was the name of that company?
AWA?
Correct. That's where he came from.
Thunderlips?
Right.
Or is that in the movie?
That is in the movie. Maybe it was in AWA as well. I don't know.
No, I don't think it was, but I just thought of that.
WrestleMania was created to be a direct rival to which NWA event?
Starrcade?
Correct.
Yeah, because that was their big one.
Good for you.
I just didn't know, because I know Starrcade is like at the end of the year, so I don't know if like...
Let me ask you, why does Starrcade have 2 R's?
Ooh, trademarks?
I don't know. That's what I was that would be my guess too.
Often is the question.
No, I was just like, it looks stupid because I'm looking at the word right now.
Yeah, no.
WWF's collaboration with MTV and other musical acts was known as the...
Oh, I don't know.
Really?
What are the options?
Rock and Roll Connection, Rock Wrestling Connection, Rock Wrestling Connection, Music
Rock and Wrestling.
Correct.
Yeah, because I remember there was some cartoon or whatever, right?
Yeah,
I think
that's right.
Yeah, I should know that, because I know what that is, so I should know.
How dare you? You don't know anything.
Ah.
In what year did WWF hit a low point due to allegations of steroid abuse and sexual harassment?
1994.
Close.
What? I swear it was 94. Was it 93?
Yes.
Okay.
Unless the book's wrong. I mean, sometimes you're righter than the book. And you know how...
Or I feel like maybe it was 93, because I'm pretty sure the steroid trial was 94.
There you go. So the issues were probably before.
Yeah.
So it's funny. So this is clearly not a WWE publication, because I'm pretty sure that is not a question they would include.
No.
Right?
Definitely not.
In 1996, Stone Cold Steve Austin, heard of him?
No, is he any good?
Defeated which of these stars to become the King of the Ring?
Jake Roberts.
Correct.
Which is weird. I don't even know why he was back then, but...
It's old Jake for sure.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, this one's hard. You'll never
he
get
beat
it.
Vader in that.
The incident known as the Montreal Screwjob, heard of it?
I think so.
Fairly
only once.
Not a famous thing at all.
Very vaguely.
Yes.
I've heard like
it's very minor
it
thing.
Happened once.
Led to which superstar leaving WWF?
It was definitely Shawn Michaels, because as I know, he's been at odds with WWE for decades.
Right. Or
it was Bret Hart.
It was. Bret Hart.
Technically also Neidhart and Bulldog if we're counting them.
Good Canadian boy.
Mm-hmm.
Following.
That's funny. I was just watching the Ruthless Aggression documentaries. Remember I was telling you, and the Shawn Michaels one. So I remember I told you about them, the revisionist history on SummerSlam. But before that, they were talking about the heel Michael segment in Montreal and how he baited them with Bret Hart's entrance music. So yeah, that's kind of related.
Following a series of scandals, which of WWF's rivals did stars Hulk Hogan and Bret Hitman Hart defect to?
New Japan Pro Wrestling.
No, that's not even an option.
WCW. Wait, what are the other options?
NWA, WCW, AWA, or TNT? Technically. Last one.
They defected TNT.
In what year did WWF Entertainment acquire its rival World Championship Wrestling?
2001.
2001 is correct.
WWF Entertainment.
Very well done.
WWFE?
Yeah, that's right. All right, so that's bringing us to the end of trivia, and we're going to go back to looking at some wrestling from the week, and this time it will be NXT UK. All right, so the show this week started with a quick video just hyping the main event for tonight, which is Mustache Mountain defending their titles against Smith and Carter. Why do I struggle with... They have the most generic names ever.
Exactly,
I think that's the
and
problem.
also, like, why are they not, like, why is their full tag name not Hottest Tag Team Under the Sun? Like, it's literally on their Tron.
Right.
They've said that, like, 5 times. Why is
it
that
is
not,
a long name,
it's
but...
like it's like a tagline, but, like...
Yeah.
I don't know. At least they'd have a tag name then.
That is true.
Or
and I made a note.
HTT UTS.
I made a note that there are loud NXT chants and lots of cheering people despite an empty arena.
There being literally no people.
So I don't know. I haven't looked into it. I don't know why there are no fans.
Ever since the empty arena match,
it is frustrating. Yes. They never came back.
Yep.
So we get our opening match, which is Amal taking on Zaya Brookside. This just stemmed from, I think, Zaya last week being asked about Amal and sort of getting upset about it, right? And she's going to tell her dad. So we get this match.
Does her dad still work there?
And I don't know.
I don't remember.
Really quickly holds encounters to start with Zaya Lee complaining, like Zaya Brookside Zaya, saying like you can't do that to me. You're not allowed to do that to me. Like just the brat persona.
Which I feel like that's just like do better.
Amal catches a cross-body attempt, hits a body slam and a basement dropkick.
Ooh, body slam.
Brookside gets control for a bit, applies some submissions after a few stomps. Amal powers out eventually, hits a Death Valley driver. We get clotheslines, a running knee, and a senton by Amal for a near fall. Forearms and a head kick by Brookside. And then we get the finish, which is the running boot to Brookside, who's seated in the corner, right? I think it looks pretty good from Amal. And then the Hope Breaker, which is not that impressive a move, but it earns Amal the victory.
At least it's after the kick, at least.
Yes, it earns Amal the victory here. I thought it was a solid back and forth match. Nothing special, almost basically enhancement, I would suggest, which is interesting because at one point I thought Brookside was someone they had plans for, but seems like somebody's high on Amal, right? Because she's on the show basically every week. Again,
I know,
they have an hour of TV
I think
and she's there.
Solid,
Me
but
too.
like I don't. When you have such a short show, I don't think she should be on every week.
And
I should say
Brookside seems to be maybe growing a bit as a heel, but I'm not a really big fan of hers. But I mean, I thought this was a decent little match. Like
her entrance look and theme, it reminded me a lot of Babyface Dakota Kai.
It does for sure. So not exactly a hot opener, but I mean, it wasn't terrible either, I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
We get a short Smith and Carter package with results and sound bites from the commentary. I didn't really comment on it, just letting you know it happened.
They did one before the opening theme too.
Right.
Like so.
Yes, they did go back and do
really
another.
Weird.
So this was like highlight package number 2 because they did a hype video right at the beginning, then this, and then they went back to it later.
It was really weird.
So then we get the coffees. So what is that? Joe and Mark. And Noam Dar and Shaw Samuels, they're sort of in Sid Scala's office. Dar wants the coffees suspended indefinitely. I thought this was funny. Did you pick up on this? And I'm not trying to be difficult, but these are some thick accents, man. So I miss some of what specifically Shaw Samuels says sometimes. But I thought it was funny because Dar's like, I want them suspended indefinitely. And Shaw Samuels, did you hear what he said?
I did not.
He goes, no, definitely. Right?
Oh, right. I remember.
I thought that was kind of funny. So Joe Coffey, the end result of this, gets a Heritage Cup match against Noam Dar in 2 weeks.
I thought it was interesting because they even pointed out he's never had a Heritage Cup match.
Right. And then, but you're the number one contender. And then they sort of an ensuing argument afterward that, again, I missed some of what they were saying, sets up a Samuels Mark Coffey match.
The accents were quite thick.
Very thick here. I thought it was a decent little segment, right? And it created 2 matches. So, and I find Dar and Samuels pretty entertaining partnership. So I don't know if you had any specific thoughts on it.
No, I liked it. I wish like this would set up like Coffey versus someone.
Yeah, Joe Coffey, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's my preferred coffee.
That's how you like your coffee.
That's Joe.
A cup of Joe.
Right? I was just gonna say because Joe is slang for coffee in some parts.
Oh, that's
he's
funny.
Coffee. Is his name?
He is. I would have liked Joe Coffey in like a Heritage Rules match before that.
Me too.
I feel like, I'm interested in him versus
So maybe
Dar for
that's
sure.
the end product, right? Is he defeats Mark and then Joe wants a turn because Joe is considered the better of the two.
No,
I think
Mark is facing Shaw.
Oh, Mark's facing Shaw. That's right. Sorry, and then the tag team match.
What tag team match?
Or sorry, Dar and didn't that set up?
No, it's Dar versus Coffey for the.
Oh right,
cup.
That's right. Sorry,
big,
which should be good. Actually,
the big old cup, which the champion gets to carry around, not at all looking like an idiot.
So then we get, just in case you thought you wouldn't get them for a week, it's Dave Mastiff and Jack Stars in the quest for the vest, right? Nice.
Ooh.
Nice.
Nice.
So they're being asked about their challenges when Pretty Deadly sort of barge right past them. Pretty Deadly are shown in their change room getting dressed.
It's not like Pretty Deadly really even did anything, so...
And this is kind of annoying, right? Why is there a random camera in there filming them getting dressed? right? Are we to believe that this is something that happens? So
or
anyways,
is it because they know something's going to happen, which is also kind of weird?
They're getting dressed, putting their shirts on, and they have a bunch of holes in them in weird places, which shouldn't bother them because they wear partial shirts all the time, to be honest. But anyways.
I guess because this is their normal shirt.
Right. The story is that Jack's stars cut holes in their shirts, and now
it's
they're
like
mad.
really random, too. And it's like it's titty holes, too. Like,
and
that's kind of odd.
And now they're mad about it, and that's pretty much all it was, right?
I find it weird because A, it's childish. B, Pretty Deadly didn't even really do anything. Sure, they were kind of like rude in like just barging by, but in the grand scheme of Pretty Deadly, is that really like so bad?
But then it was already done, right? They barged in and then went to change, and the shirts were already cut, I think.
I think it was they came back later or something.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know. It's still weird.
Yeah, it continues to baffle me. These segments get time every week, offer nothing that I'm interested in, to be honest. And I think this was a pretty clear indication of how far Pretty Deadly have fallen down the card, right? They were like your reigning heel champions, and anyways, they're now featured in a comedy angle with Stars and Mastiff, right? But again, Stars and Mastiff are getting time every week, so who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Then we get our match in the middle of the show, and that is Rohan Raja of D Familia, and I think the other guys were all with him, right? Taking on
I remember Dempsey being there.
Danny Jones, who's my favorite jobber. I kind of like this guy for some reason.
There's a one insecure in this match where he just really connect.
He did. So we get holds and counters here, then a knee to the midsection to give Jones control for a little bit to start, a boot to Raja's face, and he ends up rolling out to the floor for some relief. Jones then gets tripped off the apron, driven into the apron before being rolled back in for some stomps. We get a basement drop kick to the back of Jones's neck that looked pretty good. Then, yes, the insecurity you're talking about, followed by a Saito, and then another throw. I didn't get specifically what it was for a near fall. Ripcord forearm, and a backstabber by Raja to take the momentum back. And then a jumping flatliner by Raja, and he picks up the win here. D Familia come in and beat down on Jones further after the match. I just thought this was a fine, somewhat competitive enhancement match, right? It kind of feels like a longer, better version of the women's match that opened. You know who's going to win. It's not quite a jobber match, but it's not exactly a match that could go either way either. I've liked Danny Jones in the few matches I've seen him in. I thought Raja looked aggressive. He's got a great physique, obviously, looks great. And I'm just happy that D Familia pick up a win, but it seems like these are the things they win, right? And then they don't win the big match sort of thing.
They did beat Gallus, though.
They did. But I thought this was okay. I don't know what you thought about it.
I thought it should have been Dempsey.
Right. You love Dempsey, eh?
Yeah. Well, and I think Danny Jones was actually a good jobber, so...
He is a good jobber. I quite like
job
him.
to Dempsey.
And he's a tall guy. He's like 6'4", 6'5", or something.
Not the best physique, but
no, but he's big.
a jobber.
Yep.
So, I mean, I think it was good. Yeah, I think Raja looked decent. I think Jones looked good. I think it was like actually kind of enjoyable.
Yeah, it wasn't bad at all.
Mm-hmm.
Mustache Mountain are just shown sitting in the locker room getting ready for their match, I guess. Then we get some back-to-back kind of weird vignettes, right? So we get one for Symbiosis with T-Bone and Primate sort of snarling and complaining about how things haven't gone.
Eddie Dennis is like whispering in their ear.
Whispering in their ear, trying to calm them down. That basic thing was like a bow and arrow, right? That sometimes you have to go backwards before you go forwards. The idea that when you
That's what you have to do every time.
But when you launch an arrow, right, you pull it back to send it forward.
Every time.
So all he's saying is like, losing isn't the end of the world as long as we can go forward kind of thing. I thought it was kind of cool and a dark, mysterious tone to it.
And then it was kind of connected to this one.
I think so.
I think it was all the same thing.
Oh, you do?
Are you talking about the truck guy?
Yeah.
I think it's all the same thing.
Interesting. It could be.
It's like all the same style, right? So there's like the guy driving in a truck, or he's eating a burger, and then like he hit something, I think it was, right?
I think so too.
He's like picking up this weird hair.
He picks up
on the
fur.
ground. Or fur, yeah. And then what I heard some snorting.
And then running off in the distance.
And I'm pretty happy because I think it's Wild Boar, who is the old partner of Primate.
Right, who I kind of thought was interesting.
Exactly. I thought they were interesting. I think the Hunt would be a better tag team for Symbiosis than
Yeah,
T-Bone.
because Tyson T-Bone doesn't really fit, right? When it was two like guys that are unhinged enough to think they're
animalistic. Yeah,
right.
like I like this because I think that means better. I think it could be Wild Boar. I picked up and then we watched it again.
It
and then I was
seems like it has to be. Because you've got the fur, you've got the snorting.
He's kind of blondish, right? So I feel like it kind of matches up.
Yeah. So that was the next segment or the same segment. I don't know, but I
think it was the same segment.
It was pretty interesting because it was like exactly what you said, a trucker hitting something, and then so I grabbed my attention, right, and creates a bit of intrigue.
It was interesting, yeah.
And I think it probably is Wild Boar, but I'm interested regardless, right? So I thought that was cool.
I hope it is him.
It was nice to have a couple segments that were good because we've been struggling lately, right? There've been some ridiculous stuff.
Hey, don't diss the quest for the vest. Okay?
So I kind of enjoyed having those there, or that one or two, whatever it was. So Shaw Samuels, again, he's in the hallway backstage checking the latest odds because his big thing is he's gambling, right? I think they talked about their upcoming match. Samuels said that he doesn't always need to work with someone else, because I think that was Coffey's implication, or maybe he's saying Coffey. I don't know. Always has to have someone there, and he just walks away, leaving Coffey standing there. And again, the very thick accents, I think they sound amazing, but their accents plus talking really quickly, I've sometimes struggled to catch it, but I don't know. I find Shaw Samuels entertaining. D Familia, I like this too. They walk by A-Kid again, and this time A-Kid grabs Dempsey, right? Because they shared a look last time as they passed each other. Yeah. This time A-Kid grabs him, says he thought Dempsey was better than this, basically questioning why he would have joined D Familia. But I don't think Dempsey even says anything. D Familia just sort of walk away.
Or he was like, I don't know, he didn't say a lot, but he said like one thing or something.
Yeah, I don't know what it was.
Dempsey versus A-Kid, yay!
But I am enjoying this subtle little build, right? Like all it's been is a look as they passed each other, and then this tiny little grabbing of his arm and saying, "What are you doing with these guys?" So I kind of like this. I'm looking forward to a Dempsey A-Kid match, right?
Is it possible to do a 3-way Heritage Rules?
I don't know.
You just chuck in Dar.
I don't think so.
Well,
but anyways,
they should, because you just chuck in Dar with those two.
I think you will enjoy a Dempsey A-Kid match too.
I would love a Dempsey A-Kid match.
So it looks like that's where we're going. So that's cool.
And it has to be Heritage Cup rules, or I quit.
Right. I think
now I like it, so I do too. Mad at myself.
I think this is where we're going to go in different directions, because this is where Meiko Satomura comes out in street clothes with the belt to talk to Andy Shepherd.
Oh, they should do in 2 weeks, because I know there's the title match for the cup.
Right.
Then they should do another Heritage Rules match with Dempsey and A-Kid. You get 2 Heritage matches.
Maybe. So they start out with Meiko highlights of her time in NXT UK.
I thought this was weird, because why is she... Like, there's no occasion. Like,
no.
She didn't even really successly defend against
just to
Davenport.
Just to get to the build, I guess.
Which I thought... Nate was even pointing it out. Like, the camera was really weird. I know it was on purpose, but it's still really weird.
So Shepherd gives flowers to Meiko on behalf of everyone at NXT UK. Meiko thanks the NXT universe. Basically doesn't get to say anything. The lights go out. Isla Dawn is sitting on the stage at the top of the ramp.
No, it's like the... You know how they have the weird Trons and where the crowd should be? It was in there, and I don't understand what that is.
So she interrupts, heads to the ring, talks about Meiko giving her a sense of purpose now, and that she's got a final trophy because her character's been collecting little trophies from people that she beats. So she's aiming for the ultimate trophy in the NXT UK Women's Championship. Meiko compliments Dawn and basically says, because I think Meiko's beaten her before, saying that she's a tough fight, and that if she wants another shot, all she has to do is ask. Dawn says that
Why are champions so easygoing? Like, oh, you just have to ask.
Baby faces.
You don't gotta prove yourself.
That's standard babyface champion.
I know. It's just like, it's always funny. Like, they're not like, no, you don't have to prove yourself or anything.
Dawn says that she doesn't ask for things. She takes them. She kicks Meiko in the head, takes the flowers, leaves Meiko lying, and she's sort of eating one of the flowers as she's heading up the ramp. So... I enjoy this segment. I enjoy Isla Dawn. I don't think you do.
I don't. I don't know. I feel like it's too supernatural with like the hexes or whatever.
Yeah, but they don't actually work or do anything. That's why it doesn't bother me. She's just kind of creepy.
Like, she doesn't look that great in the ring. Like she doesn't.
I think she's pretty good.
Her look is alright. I don't know. Just the segment was weird because I didn't understand the point of it. Like I understand the points to get a title program, but I don't understand like if
Isla Dawn doesn't come out, what are you doing?
Exactly. Yes. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like what
you're not
theoretically
wrong.
Was the point of this, right?
That's fair.
Like I think it was okay, but it was kind of weird.
And I guess with Davenport out with that awful injury, right? They need to heat somebody up. So whether this was the plan or not, this is where they're going with it. So I'm okay with it.
Yeah, it could be pretty short term too, right?
Yeah, it could be. Then we get Sam Gradwell looking in the mirror. He's really mad about his hair being cut off.
Oh my god, it was so funny. He's like, oh, my son's gonna be like, where's your hair,
his son
Daddy?
asking,
and
that's what's upset him, is people, including his son, asking him where his hair went.
Or like that he can't look himself in the that's
you look better, dude.
A, he looks way better.
Right.
B, like that would be like, I don't know, like it's like it's a small patch of hair. That'd be like me getting mad if someone accidentally like trimmed my hair a little bit. Like, oh, I can't even look in the mirror anymore.
Right.
Like it's
So he's obsessed with getting revenge on Kenny Williams for cutting his hair off.
He should shave Kenny's beard. Oh, wait. Nah.
So I don't know. Gradwell gets a ton of TV time too right now. His feud with Kenny Williams will continue, I guess.
I like Williams, but I don't really care for Gradwell.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he gets. A lot of time, more time than I would give him as well.
That's what I think for him and Amal. Like, I think Amal is better probably, but I still think she gets a lot.
They then recap Nathan Fraser challenging Dragunov for the NXT UK title, and of course, Dragunov accepts the challenge, says he respects Fraser for asking. Dragunov then talks about he had to win a battle royal to get his first shot.
I did not know that. I totally forgot.
And even then, there was a long journey to get to the title after that.
We watched Walter Dragunov, like the first one after it happened, right? Because didn't you like hear about it?
Yes. And this will be Fraser's first step in his journey, sort of implying that you're not going to win. This will be your first shot, but
is he implying that like after
your
another
journey's
year,
gonna keep
he's
going.
gonna
You'll beat me eventually, but not right now.
You'll beat me on your second try, way after.
And that match will be next week. So I don't think Fraser's great on the mic. It was just a recap of him talking last week, but I really do like
in the quote-unquote interview.
Yes, I like Dragunov's response. I think he's good on the mic, and I didn't think that when he first got to UK.
No, I remember thinking he was getting good. Remember when he came to NXT for a couple segments?
Yeah, he's good. So that match should be fun. I mean, there's no way.
It's clearly not like, because like, talk about a short-term build.
Yeah, no way Fraser wins, but the match could be quite interesting because their styles, even though neither of them are really big guys, I think their styles are quite different, right? Like Fraser wants to fly around.
Now Fraser's like the guy
Dragunov wants to beat
on
you
Walter
to death.
And Dragunov.
That's
now.
right. We then move to the main event, which is Smith and Carter taking on Mustache Mountain for the NXT Tag Team Championships. So Bate and Carter start out with holds and counters.
Wait, if they're the hottest tag team under the sun, do you think Mustache Mountain are the coldest team because they're at the top of a mountain and it could be snowing?
Or maybe
on the
they're over the sun and it's not even a comparison. They're so high up the mountain.
Coldest tag team over the sun?
Right. Mustache Mountain get control first, hit a double shoulder tackle and an assisted senton. Someone's flipping someone else. I assume Seven flipped Bate because that would usually be the way it goes.
I don't know if you remember the move, but like it's like
they put the foot in the hands and flip them.
Oh,
I think is what it was.
Oh, okay. Because I was thinking of the one where Bate's on the top turnbuckle and Seven's sitting in front of him, and then he kind of like jumps and hits his knees off of Seven.
No, it wasn't that one.
Okay, I was thinking that one.
Carter gets control, works Seven's arm a bit before tagging in Smith. Trent hits a body slam and a leg drop for a 2 count. Tags Bate back in for a top rope flipping senton. Uppercut.
Was it the spiral tap?
No.
Is it the?
No, it's just a regular old senton.
Ah, damn.
Uppercut exchange. Smith gains the advantage momentarily. Carter slingshots in, and Bate was supposed to catch him on his shoulders, but he doesn't, so he just picks him up instead for the airplane spin, which always looks pretty cool.
Boy.
Yes. Hurricane Rana to Bate off the top with an axe kick by Carter for 2 before he knocks Trent Seven to the floor. Bate catches a charging Carter, throws him overhead. Bate needs to make a tag, and Seven's finally back up on the apron just in time. We get a tornado DDT by Carter after like the silly string part of it, and then a partial moonsault by Carter for 2. They were even like didn't get all of it. We get a 7-star lariat and the Emerald Flosion to Smith as Carter sent to the floor.
Move.
What is the Emerald Flosion? I just wrote it down because they said it. I don't even remember what he did.
It's like if it's what I'm thinking of, because I used it as a finisher for my one created guy.
Yeah.
And just because of the name, because I made a rich guy an Emerald Flosion, like Emerald. But anyways, it's like a, so he picks up like a body slam and then kind of slams him to the side.
Yeah.
Like,
he
lands in a seated position.
Yep,
and the
he
guy's
does.
kind of beside him. Like, kind of like that, I think.
Spinning sit-out spinebuster by Smith. Assisted moonsault by Carter for 2. Trent Seven takes an Uranagi on the floor and a top rope leg lariat to Bate inside the ring. Cutter to Bate off of Smith's shoulders for a near fall. Things continue to break down, leaving Bate and Smith in the ring. We get Bop and Bang take down Smith, and Bate goes for the cover. Smith gets his foot up on the ropes, but Trent Seven runs by before the ref can notice, knocks the foot off the ropes.
Oh, is that what happened? I thought he got his foot under the ropes.
No. Mustache Mountain get the slightly dirty win here, which was interesting, right? I thought.
Oh, I thought it was like he had his foot on the ropes and the ref just didn't notice.
No, Trent ran by and knocked it off.
I guess you could do that. I mean, it's a little dirty, I guess.
I think what it does is it's like a compliment to Smith and Carter, right? It makes them look a bit stronger. That Mustache Mountain, your super babyface tag team, had to take a shortcut to keep the title, sort of thing. So I feel like it's setting up further stuff, which I'm fine with.
Part of me is like it's kind of a shortcut, but then at the same time, it's like I don't know. It's like I don't know.
It was done well. He ran by at the exact right time. I thought the second half of this match was really good. The pace picked up. Smith and Carter actually got a couple believable near falls.
I don't remember paying too much attention to the first half.
And then it was nonstop in and out of the ring action. I think the finish, like I'm saying, helps make Carter and Smith look strong because they forced Mustache Mountain to get a shortcut win here. I think Smith and Carter have improved a lot, and they're quite a good tag team.
They're not interesting.
They need some character development, right? They're a bit generic to me still. It kind of feels like it's Anafe and Malik Blade, but like they're obviously Smith and Carter are further along in their progression. And they're a good tag team, but same thing, like I want to know more about them as people, as characters. So a good main event overall, I thought. I don't know, what about you?
I don't know, I definitely was like not paying attention too much to the first half, kind of half paying attention, but half. But I definitely got more into it at the end, and I think the finish was good. I thought it was something else, but I think it still works. It could set up a rematch.
I think it might,
I don't think it's necessary.
I don't know where else you go though, right?
I mean, like, necessary to see.
Right.
I think it's storyline wise it makes sense, but I don't know how much I need to see it.
Right.
But I don't know. It could be good. I liked it. I hope that maybe they face DeFamilia at some point. I feel like.
Or get the Hunt back together.
Yeah, I think maybe do that, and I think maybe hold off on that so DeFamilia can win the titles.
That'd be cool. I like DeFamilia. So this week, I don't know, I thought the segments were better. The in-ring action was just decent. I thought the main event was the match of the night. Raja Jones and Brookside Amal matches were decent, but kind of enhancement-ish. The trucker segment was interesting. The symbiosis one was cool. So I thought it was a decent show, but contained nothing I would say like people need to go out and see. So I was torn between two grades. I'm going to go with the C+, which might seem a bit harsh, but I thought the show was kind of decent, but in an hour there were still some things I didn't really enjoy. Actually, I'll go B-. I'll bump it up. I think there was a few things I enjoyed more, getting back to a few good segments. So I'll go B- for it this week.
Yeah, so I think the opener was all right. I kind of enjoyed the Dana Jones-Raja match more than I think we had any right to, just because it's just an enhancement match. And the main event was pretty good. I like the symbiosis segment because I think it's interesting. I hope it is Wild Boar because I feel like that it was kind of a good subtle tease.
Yeah.
And I think the coffee segment was solid as well. And then I think I didn't love the Isladon thing, and then also the, what was it? Mastiff Stars thing is just kind of
it's a waste
weird.
of my time.
So I think I'll go a little lower. I'll go with the C+.
All right, that's fair.
Yeah.
Nice.
It was an alright show, but nothing like...
Again, we're waiting for it to get as good as the first couple we reviewed, right? We were really enjoying it.
We're getting Dragon Up Fraser and then Coffee
so that should be
in the
good.
next couple weeks. So, I mean, there's a chance.
Yep, for sure. All right, well, that's bring to the end of that, and we'll move into, I think we only have one show to talk about in our next segment, which is Any Other Wrestling Business. All right, so I'm just going to talk some NXT, and then we're going to get out of here because I got to go back to the city to coach some basketball. So, and you said there's no figuring it out, right? This week
there is none. They're
slacking.
Nothing.
Right. Okay, so this will be the final segment. We'll talk about NXT, and we'll get out of here real quick.
And saving the best for last,
That's right?
That has to be what it is.
So Braun Breaker's in the ring talking about winning on Vengeance Day and hyping whatever the NXT event is on WrestleMania weekend. We get a lot of that.
Stand and deliver again.
There you go. We get a lot of that tonight.
Except no takeover, so they're not...
Right. They know.
What's the
they're not killing that brand.
For like somethinging the name?
What?
Like the expression for like...
I don't know what you're
I don't know.
He says basically he'll go into and leave that weekend as champion. Dolph Ziggler interrupts. Ziggler puts over Braun briefly, calls him an F-350 like a big tough pickup truck. Braun will for sure make it to Mania weekend, but he won't make it there as champion. Ooh. When Ziggler wants the title, it'll be his. Braun calls Dolph skinny, wants him to fight him right now. Ziggler calls Braun the man in Orlando. Ooh. Because Ziggler's the man elsewhere? Oh, no, he loses all the time.
No, he's the man, okay? Right. How dare you?
Ziggler apparently has the power to ban Braun Breaker from ringside for his match tonight, and he storms off.
Hey, anyone can
do anything.
Make matches, right?
It's the Wild West.
I guess Ziggler does know the lay of the land.
So Braun, I still think, is just like passable or acceptable on the mic. He's fine. He's pretty basic, but he's not bad. And he had one good line. He said, like, they don't pay me to look good. They pay me to kick ass, which I thought because he was making fun of Ziggler made fun of his denim on denim look, which is a an interesting look to
like
choose.
the Canadian tuxedo.
Yeah, exactly. So I think Ziggler's good on the mic, but for me, he's coming close to overdoing it here in NXT. But anyways, maybe it's just
Like, you mean like appearances or like?
no, like his delivery and stuff.
Oh, okay.
And
yeah.
maybe it's just to contrast because Braun is so straightforward and kind of new to it. But and again, he's great in the ring, but he never wins matches. So that earns him an immediate top of the card status in NXT, right? Just come down there,
it is
anybody.
the developmental territory, I guess,
And
right?
that's what I had because it is unapologetically developmental
especially
now.
Like I feel like if it was NXT exactly 1 year ago,
Yeah.
then maybe it's like a little different because they can kind of just ignore it.
Yeah. But even a loser on main roster is better than
Get our
winners
truth
on
in
NXT.
here, am I right?
Yeah. So then we get LA Knight taking on Grayson Waller. Knight is in control of it until a Sanga distraction on the outside, which Sanga didn't really do anything other than be standing there. He didn't get involved or anything.
So Knight just decided to
right,
distract
just sort
himself.
of paid attention to him for a second, and that was enough. Waller then stays in control for a long time until his roll through cutter attempt. Running, he runs down the entire ramp. That gets countered by Knight from the floor. I
think any finisher where you're starting outside the ring like that
runs down
stupid.
the full ramp. As Knight is going for the BFT finisher, Sanga from the floor just reaches and holds on to Waller so that it can't be delivered, and then Waller quickly rolls Knight up, and that is the match, basically. Knight obviously snaps, hits the BFT to Sanga, and then Waller as well.
Waller took it kind of nice.
And then he leaves, yeah. Takes it straight down pretty much. Solid match. I didn't think the finish did it any favors. These two guys seem to work pretty well together, and Waller is super hated right now, so Knight seems to be getting over as a babyface with the crowd a little bit, the actual crowd and the fake crowd.
I wonder what'll happen when he stops feuding with
This
Waller.
is the first week you noticed the fake crowd standing up at the top, right?
Yeah, because
when you walk by, it looks so dumb. I thought the finish was like lame main roster style stuff, like distraction roll up almost basically, but the match itself was fine until that point. Then from earlier today, Dakota Kai wakes up Wendy Chu. Apparently, Wendy never told Dakota they were partners, but Wendy says she told Kai's imaginary friend, because that's Kai's gimmick now.
Oh my god.
Dakota says her track record with
an
friends...
imaginary friend and then also an actual partner, which is Wendy Chu.
Right. Her track record with friends isn't very good.
Honestly, I'd rather her team with Tian Shaw.
Chu says that Kai hasn't had Chu as a partner and says, see ya, and then leaves. So, I don't know, man. Kai seemed to drop the character for a few seconds when she talked in the middle of this.
Why does she been like this?
About her track
she lost
record.
To Gonzalez?
I don't know if the idea is every partner she's had, she's turned on or abandoned, so she has to have like imaginary friends now. I don't know. I don't care and I don't like it either.
Probably the dumbest thing I've ever heard, but also sounds like something they would do.
Yeah, but then she went back into the character I don't like. So this was just two ridiculous characters having an interaction. Isn't that zany and edgy, right? Oh, they're so edgy.
What it is.
Now it's time to train Cora Jade's way, because last week we trained in Gonzalez's way,
Why
right?
does Gonzalez need to train? Isn't she the veteran, the old, tired
But she's got to learn the new school ways. She's stuck in her old school ways, right? So Cora Jade's way is to go to a climbing place like what we call up here treetop trekking, which I've done before.
What do they call it there?
I don't know what it was called. But so Gonzalez is afraid of heights. And then cue the montage of them doing rope courses in the trees. Gonzalez struggles and Jade thrives, the exact opposite of last week. How clever.
And then they're going to find common ground somewhere.
Exactly. They bond over this. They zip line and now they've bonded. They're on the same page for the Dusty Cup. I don't think it was terrible. I found it kind of cheesy, and I could see people probably did like this, but it's not for me. NXT, right? They seem to love this whole improbable buddies, like they did Gargano Loomis, right? They did Wagner Kyle O'Reilly. They tried to do Io and Zoe, and now they're doing these two. So it's this idea of like, I don't even know if it's reluctant partners, but this like odd couple sort of thing they like to do right now. They're going back to that well a lot. It's just the latest version of that. I don't find this one particularly interesting, but I bet people like that segment. Then we get, because we don't get enough of Toxic Attraction, there's going to be a Toxic Lounge where the Toxic Attraction ladies are going to watch the Dusty Cup, and they get a chance to speak to Mackenzie from the lounge. They all get a chance. JC tells us they'll be watching all the cup matches from the lounge. Then I think they take a couple shots at Gonzalez and Cora Jade. And then Mandy says it makes sense that Jade and Gonzalez gave up trying to beat her, and they won't be able to beat Dolan and Jane either.
Is she implying they're lesser than her? Wow.
Yes. Jane and Dolan do not seem to be improving. Like, I find them worse now than they were in the beginning because
And I hated them earlier, so I don't even want to know.
I suffer a little bit from secondhand embarrassment when they cut a promo. Like, I almost look away, and I'm not even kidding. It's so bad, and I find they're just not. They're playing roles that they're not comfortable in, is what it feels like to me. And they're not good enough actors at this point to pull that off. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I find it uncomfortable and awkward, and I don't think it works, and I don't think the crowd's buying into it either. But anyways, so we do then get our first Dusty Cup match for the women, which that both of them go kind of the same way. It's Kaylee Ray and Io Shirai taking on Lash Legend and Amari Miller. Before entrances are even done, we've already cut to the Toxic Attraction Lounge at least 3 times. So it's this constant cutting back to see them, right? Which is annoying. Lash Legend is super green. And she and Io have some issues early on. Like, there's some sloppiness here. I don't even think Io and Kaylee Ray looked great in this, to be honest. We got a Kaylee Ray bomb. Kaylee Ray moonsault off the second rope mostly. She doesn't really hit it clean. And then Io hits her moonsault for the win in less than
3 minutes.
You remember the gimmick.
Yay.
Yep. We're back to original NXT in less than 3 minutes. This was an enhancement tag match with a bit of time spent trying to get over Lash's size and power. She is really big. It wasn't a very good match. It felt like early 2.0 with the under 3 minute time. And why choose this as the opening match for your tournament, right? Like, this is not a good match, and it was very short. But anyways, Mackenzie's then with Dante Chen ahead of his match with Duke Hudson. He's mad at Duke for trying to end his career before it began. He gets his vengeance today. Duke won't be able to sweep Parada off her feet if he has no legs to stand on. Ooh, that was just such a scripted line. So I thought his delivery was okay. Some of the lines he was given were kind of cheesy, but that's what you get in 2.0. Then it's time for Jensen and Briggs, yes, talking about getting Jensen out of the friend zone. They're going to make a video for a dating app, and it's as bad as you think.
Oh my God.
They keep screwing up and arguing. Like, Briggs doesn't even remember his name the first time. Or sorry, Jensen calls himself Briggs. Like, just anyways. It was really short, but it feels like we're coming back to this a couple times at least. So it's Duke Hudson, Dante Chen. Chen attacks Hudson during his entrance because he's super mad. Chen goes after Hudson's leg as he promised to do. Chen starts out hot with one nice flurry of offense, but that's all he gets. Duke eventually overpowers him and quickly hits his Razor's Edge finish, which does look pretty good because he goes to the ground with them when he hits it. He picks up the win in under
3 minutes.
Correct. So another enhancement match
I must really know
that
things.
feels like the early weeks of 2.0, right? So much for Chen.
We're the best.
So much for Chen, I guess. Like, he's highly motivated by vengeance, but you lose to a mid-carder in 3 minutes. So good luck to you, Dante Chen. Mello and Trick Williams head to the ring to speak. We get a catchphrase right off the bat, and tonight is a Mellabration. Mello delivers the match of the night at Vengeance and stole the show, which I happen to agree with. They start talking about WrestleMania week again. Dunn interrupts and reminds Mello that he hasn't beaten Dunn because Mello is going on about how there's nobody left for him to beat, sort of thing. So Dunn starts to angle toward a match. Mello tries to avoid it at first. Dunn challenges Mello for next week, I think it was. Mello seems to finally accept, but Cameron Grimes runs in, takes out Trick and Mello as we cut to a commercial. When we come back, Trick and Grimes have already started a match that they made over the commercial break. So I thought Mello and Trick were really good in this, and I think Mello is actually making me laugh a couple times now. He's settled into his role a bit better and is sort of staying in the background a little bit more. Dunn was good too, and then it just kind of ended all of a sudden. So I think Dunn faces Mello next week, but it wasn't totally clear because that seems pretty quick. But anyways, that looks like what's happening. So Grimes and Trick Williams are fighting here. Grimes dominates early. Trick takes his turn hitting very basic offense, including a body slam. Trick keeps applying this weak-looking submission in between a few kicks. Then eventually Grimes fights back. Pendulum side effect, I called it, by Grimes looked nice. An awkward high cross body by Grimes. Trick seemed to be facing the wrong direction and basically took a cross body to the side of the head. It looked kind of funny.
That's weird.
Commentary tried to get it over as like a knee to the head. I don't think that's what it was. But then we get a cave in and Grimes wins this one in 6 minutes. Man, Trick is really inexperienced. And even in this match, I thought, and with a good wrestler, I think, in Grimes, right? I think he still got exposed a little bit. He's almost entirely kicks and punches. and some of the kicks don't look great. His legs are so long, I feel like he struggles to line up the point of impact a little bit. And he did not turn around when he was supposed to for that crossbody, and it took it off the side of the head. So I'm kind of on board with his character now as Melo's sidekick, but I don't think he's very good in the ring. He needs to improve there as well. Back to Jensen and Briggs. Jensen tries some awkward pickup lines for the dating app and adds in some light homophobia, which is never appreciated for me, but I forget what it even was. But anyways, there was some sort of hint at homophobia, which was stupid. But anyways, so these things come in threes. I'm guessing there's one more, and they're juvenile and annoying. So Braun and Ciampa interact backstage. Ciampa is lifting some weights. Basically, Braun wishes Ciampa luck. Ciampa says they're 1-1 in their series. Braun says he can't wait for the rubber match. I thought this was all it needed to be. It's sort of teasing Braun Ciampa 3 maybe for WrestleMania week even. I'm not sure where they're going to go with it. But I think I prefer Braun here. He was a little bit calmer doing this promo, and it sounded more natural. I thought he was better here than when he gets sort of fired up. We get a brief Nikita Lyons vignette because she's up next, but no, she isn't. It's obviously a Chase University segment, and we're going back to the well of what we were doing before. This time it's a lesson on intestinal fortitude, which is he uses to call out Von Wagner for not having that. And then it's back to the usual thing where one of the students asks him a reasonable question. Chase snaps, throws him out, and then now we have Bodie obviously cheering him on as well. This just felt like a completely recycled segment from early NXT 2.0. There's nothing new here unless the student he throws out becomes an opponent. Otherwise, there was nothing going on here, really. Were you watching this, the debut of Nikita Lyons? I can't remember. I think you stopped by for something, right?
Yeah, because I wanted to see it because I thought it would suck.
It's Nikita Lyons taking on Kayla Inlay. So Inlay gets a lot of offense here, and Lyons eventually lands a bunch of kicks and a German tornado kick and a leg drop for Nikita Lyons' win in 4 minutes.
It was like a split leg drop. It was stupid.
Oh, it was a splits. You're right. I don't understand. Why did Nikita Lyons not come out and destroy this woman, right? After weeks of building Nikita as mega tough, fighting since birth, highlights of her training, MMA stuff, looking pretty good in those highlights, she struggles right away in her debut match against a jobber. Like Kayla Inlay's had maybe 2 matches, and she's basically enhancement talent, and Nikita struggled to beat this girl. So she did pick things up, but I really think this should have been like a squash, basically. I did not enjoy this. I don't think Lyons looked very good here, and her finisher I don't really care for either. It's too bad, because the vignettes, yeah, the story of like, I grew up the daughter of a rock star were kind of silly, but the parts where they showed her training made her look pretty good, and then she struggles to beat a jobber. So I don't understand what they were doing here. I was not a fan. Duke and Persia Parada are making out in the locker room, right? Indy interrupts them. Persia runs out. We learned that Duke and Persia were together, Duke and Indy were together in the past, right? Duke says something like, you didn't seem to mind that when we were together or before or something. And Loomis is standing there. He overheard it all, and I think he runs away or leaves or something. I just don't care, so I don't pay much attention. I apologize. Again, we've got a group of adults behaving like 12-year-olds. It's not entertaining at all. It's far closer to insulting me than it is entertaining me. It's like we're shocked to learn that people in their 20s and 30s might have dated people before in their lives. That's
like,
unbelievable.
Erin, when she finds out Andy was engaged to
right,
Angela, except like she's like an idiot.
Yes, and he's in his like 40s at that point, probably early. Anyways, how scandalous that people have dated as in their adult lives, even possibly. Better keep it all a secret to avoid any problems, right? Yep, what could possibly go wrong? Robert Stone responds to Andre Chase. He says he gave Chase an out last time, but next week Vaughn will face Chase and beat him. Then Stone and Wagner share Vaughn's catchphrase. This made me laugh because it's like they know Von Wagner is atrocious on the mic, so they keep giving him less and less to say. So now he only got half of his catchphrase, and it still sounded awful.
He sucks.
So we've cut him back to half a line. Still really bad. Loved it. Alicia Taylor invites the Creed brothers to the ring to claim the Dusty Cup that they won last week. Bivens cuts a promo basically on Imperium, runs them down for not having an amateur background like the Creeds. Imperium aren't fighting champions, etc., until Imperium interrupt. Walter will not let them speak this way, and they will learn to respect Imperium. Imperium are still the champs, etc. A brawl obviously ensues. Bivens ends up alone with Walter, but he's saved by Solo Sikoa, obviously. He runs in and drops Walter to end the segment. Man, remember how much I loved Imperium about a month ago? Like, they were the coolest thing going. They are not being booked strongly at all right now.
That's because
And it annoys me. They're veterans.
Because they're leader.
And they're not rookies, right?
Also,
So they were great recently and should be a dominant faction, especially now that Walter's here. But this makes it feel like they're
Who
just...
is this Walter you speak
Right.
of? He must
I
be
refuse.
really good.
I'm still
No, I know.
Walter
I'm
to
not
me.
going to.
But it just at this point feels like Imperium's just kind of holding the titles for the Creeds, right? And that the Creeds will just continue to get the better of them until they take the titles, and it bugs me. I hope Imperium...
When I think they kind of had potential in their run, Imperium.
Sure. They were
I liked that match when they won the titles.
They're the most polished, like,
that was probably one of the
thing
only
going.
2.0 matches I actually enjoyed.
Right.
Because like there's a very, very short list.
Now they're spending weeks kind of making them look silly and having like these rookies get the better of them a little bit.
Rookies always get the better of them.
So more Jensen and Briggs. I think it's the last one. So Fallon, I forget her full name, the bartender wrestler, interrupts, informs them that they can just use a picture and they don't need to be making videos because that's not how things really work anymore, right? I guess we are supposed to take away that Briggs knew this because it's kind of like he says, what does he say? Something like, I can't remember what it was, but basically that he put Jensen through all this for his own amusement. And we're led to believe that for an hour and a half, because they used that time, that's what they told us, he did this to Jensen for an hour and a half for his own amusement. That seems a bit ridiculous to me. Right?
And also, like, can you even trust your friend?
Right. So Mackenzie then asked...
Who he met at a bar fight.
with Gacy and Harland, asked about an interaction they had with Draco Anthony as Draco was working out, and we get the classic security video footage playing as Gacy sort of talks about the interaction. Gacy says he was warning Draco about working out alone at night, and Draco took exception, and Harland had to step in, but Gacy kind of calls him off. Gacy calls Anthony a piece of clay that could be molded by the right person. Harland will face Anthony next week, and Anthony will learn that it's better to have friends than to be alone. So I guess they're still trying to recruit him a little bit, kind of like the Daniel Bryan thing, like, we're going to fight you first, and then if you want to join us, that's cool. So
how dare you compare this to Bryan Danielson?
Sorry. I thought this was fine. A little bit long, but I think Gacy's doing...
You say you love him, but...
Gacy's doing good work. I do like him. The security camera footage is a bit cheesy, but that seems to be NXT's kind of go-to move a little bit. Dusty Cup again. It is now Carter and Cat and Zero taking on what seems to be a makeshift team to me of Ivy Nile and Tatum Paxley. So
is she actually in Diamond Mine or?
I don't think so. And actually, definitely not at the end of this. So I think Paxley's basically here to take a lot of the offense because Nile's still being protected, which I think is fine, right? I think they might have something in Ivy Nile, so protecting her makes sense to me. Caden Carter gets a brief flurry on Nile before Nile takes over with a head kick. And that weak double team move, I didn't even make a note of what it was specifically. Nile ends up on the floor. Cat and Zero hit, which I think looks cool, the 450 neckbreaker combo to Paxley for the win in...
Under 3 minutes.
3.5 minutes, so close.
Damn it.
Then Nile, after the match, kills Paxley with a chokehold, and Roderick Strong has to call Nile off, basically, from killing this woman. So I seem to remember, right, the last time the main roster did a women's tournament, and it was reduced to a joke because every match was like a couple minutes long.
Yeah, Queen's Crown.
So this is what's going on here, right? This is the first two matches of this cup, and this feels, again, like the first month or so of 2.0, where it was 3-minute matches that you can't really offer any analysis about, and you just got to sort of move on, and that's basically what happened here. Just a transparently weak way to have Nile and Paxley work together for 1 week. Basically, like, oh, we need a team to fill this Dusty Cup. You two are together, you lose, you kill her, and we move on. Lame. Mackenzie talks to Solo Sikoa, who says he just dropped Walter, and he'll do it again next week. He better frickin' not, but I'm worried a little bit, honestly.
Yeah, and Walter already got chumped by one super kick.
So Bivens interrupts, tries to high-five Sikoa, who leaves him hanging. Sikoa, I think, is actually pretty good at delivering these straightforward, like, tough guy promos. He's a lot better than a lot of people in this company at this level at his promos. So I think he's got a pretty believable character going here so far. They've kept it simple with him. They didn't give him some ridiculous, like, you're I don't know, what's a good gimmick for Solo
Plumber.
Plumber, nice. LA Knight is mad backstage, but he gives Waller some credit. He brags about taking out Waller and Sanga after the match, and then he just walks away. I didn't really have any thoughts on it. Good enough. Main event. Tommaso Ciampa versus Dolph Ziggler. We got holds and counters. Cheap shot by Ziggler gives him control. He targets Ciampa's repaired neck, which seems smart. We then get a bunch of back and forth. A famouser for a near fall. Project Ciampa, which I'm always glad to see for a near fall. Me too. Running knee, Ziggler gets a foot on the ropes. Apron strike exchange leads to an air raid crash to Ziggler on the apron. Cameraman attacks Ciampa while the ref is distracted. Ciampa walks into a super kick, and loses. And loses to a super kick.
I thought he got beat by Rude. Or like he took the camera shot. Or
he
took
did,
the super kick after.
But then he loses to the super kick.
Well, that is like the second.
You just spoiled it. Bobby Roode reveals himself to be the cameraman. Oh my God.
Would you rather that or Zigzag?
Well, true. Zigzag's kind of lame too. Braun comes down to obviously defend Ciampa because they've got respect between the two of them, mutual, some might even say. So he challenges Rude and Ziggler to a tag match. Officials try to stop them from brawling, and the show ends. And you know we're going to get that match because you can make your own matches in this company.
Everyone.
This was a very good match. I didn't like the finish myself. The whole like cameraman is somebody else it's been done a lot at this point. But I think it was still a strong main event for NXT. The pace that these two worked and the holds and counters that they actually are capable of is really glaring on an episode that was like littered with inexperienced talent in 3-minute matches, right? So these guys actually knowing how to do holds and counter them and actually working a really fast pace, it just really stands out when that's not the rest of this show, right?
Good wrestling stands out on a bad show.
Right. So the outcome was what I expected since I didn't think there was any chance. They brought Ziggler down here, gave him all this TV and promo time to have him lose his first match. I didn't love the finish. I just feel like it's kind of...
The main roster boys looking strong.
It's been kind of done and feels like a main roster finish. Both of the only decent matches on this show had that cop-out main roster finish, right? And some type of main event shenanigans were telegraphed by Braun being banned from ringside, right? So looking back, it makes it kind of obvious that something's going to happen because Ziggler's banning Braun from ringside because he's kind of been Ciampa's protector, I guess. I don't know. And commentary also went out of their way to remind us a few times that Braun was banned from ringside. So that's them basically telegraphing some sort of screwy finish, I think. I didn't expect Rude to be there, but it didn't excite me
I do like that, though.
Or move the needle for me.
He's got history there.
Yeah, he does. And he's helping his tag team partner and stuff, right? It's just a standard thing. Anyways, Ciampa and Ziggler worked really well together. No one's probably surprised by that. Strong match, good main event. Overall, show took a pretty big step back for me this week and felt a lot, unfortunately, like the early, truly awful episodes of 2.0. The opener was decent, but hurt by a weak finish. Both Dusty Cup matches were 3 minutes enhancement, as was Duke Hudson Chen. Grimes Williams was a little bit more than that, but still pretty much enhancement and not that great. Nikita Lyons match was far too competitive and I thought really disappointing. The main event lost a couple marks for the finish I didn't really like. And you add to that 3 Jensen and Briggs segments, right? And this show was tough for me to get through.
Oh my God, a 3-part segment.
So I gave it a D+ because, I mean, the main event was good, but I didn't like the finish. The opener was fine, and then everything in between was pretty much a waste of time, to be perfectly honest. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. That's going to bring me to the end of talking about NXT, and I think the end of this episode 84. I also
did want to mention, I noticed that you can go to AEWawards.com, you can vote for year-end awards. Or I think it's year-end awards, I don't know.
Oh, already? What? It's February.
For last year, I think.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
I think.
That's late, feels like.
Yeah, I know. Or it's awards for something.
Cool. So I'm going to cut this a bit quickly because I got to get back in the car and drive back to the city. But thanks to anyone who took any time out of their week to listen to us talk about a bit of wrestling. We will be back next Saturday for episode 85. I don't think anything in between that, right?
No, but Revolution's next weekend. So
nice.
We'll also pump that out.
We'll cover that, I think, right?
Yep.
Awesome.
All right, well,
we look forward to seeing you all back here next week for episode 85. And until then, take care.